Are we all ready to go?
25:17.
The path
of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the inequities and the tyranny, or the selfishness and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost men. For I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
Well, hello and welcome to the Confused Breakfast. Do you remember the pure joy of a trip to the video rental store as a kid?
Shit, yeah.
It's hard to beat the ease of the modern era and streaming platforms where you don't even have to leave your couch, but there was something truly special about heading to Blockbuster to pick out a movie by hand, grabbing some quarter pounders with cheese and Sprites from McDonald's, and heading home to watch. On this podcast, we revisit and dissect some of our favorite childhood movies from that magical era to see if they still move us the way they did as kids. My name is Mike Schulte. Joining me, as always, my pumpkin and my honey bunny, Sean Pryor and AJ Vance. How the heck are ya?
Pretty solid after that score we just took down, huh?
Nobody better move or I'll execute every last mother one of you.
We just said we weren't going to swear in the first couple minutes, and AJ drops two of them.
I didn't do that.
We'll beep it out.
Can we beep it?
We'll beep those out.
Hang on. Nobody better move or I'll get y'all.
Yeah.
Got it.
Wow. Well, boys, on today's episode, we discuss the second feature film by writer-director Quentin Tarantino, the number 8 highest-rated movie on IMDb, a movie that won 69 of 72 awards that it was nominated for, a movie that single-handedly made none of us ever want to go to a pawn shop ever again. We're, of course, talking about 1994's Pulp Fiction.
Right.
Dang it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another nostalgic journey to the past with The Confused Breakfast. Sit back, relax, and enjoy wherever you are in the world. Take it away, boys.
Well, if you're new to this podcast, maybe some of you guys came over from the Brotherly Love podcast. We love you. Welcome here. We're going to be reviewing Pulp Fiction scene by scene with a modern eye.
Good.
They turn it off. Right
Like, wow, thank you.
Like, wow, these guys can't even talk. Wow.
We're going to be reviewing Pulp Fiction scene by scene with a modern eye, but in order to do that properly, we must first discuss it with pure nostalgia. I think we got to start with Sean on this one. Sean, tell us the first time you saw this movie, what your thoughts were about it, and what your nostalgic rating was.
Okay, man. I've got kind of a peculiar history with this movie. Kind of funny that I was getting into movies. I had seen Reservoir Dogs. And I wanted more from this filmmaker, and I heard that there was plenty more. But I wasn't allowed to see Pulp Fiction quite yet because I was a little too young, according to my parents.
I guess.
But they listened to the soundtrack nonstop when we were like playing ping pong in my dad's garage. And when they were at work and I was just hanging out in the garage doing whatever, I listened to the soundtrack over and over and over again. And so what I had was these audio clips, because they're in the soundtrack. Tarantino does the audio clips from a movie. What I had was these audio clips, and I had to put it all together in my own brain.
What is this movie about?
Okay, so is that John Travolta right there? Like, I wonder, is that Tim Roth? That can't be Mr. Orange from Reservoir Dogs. So it was kind of weird that I had to do that. And then along with that, there were soundboards of Sam Jackson on like E-Bombs World, where you could just like prank call people with them. And so I had to put together that and see like what the context is. And I finally saw it, and I loved it. Like it was the best movie I had seen at that point. It's got to be a 10. 10
straight out of the gate, nostalgically for Sean. AJ, what about you, man?
This movie was one that, if you guys remember, I used to, or I've said a couple times, there are some movies that I was just too young to watch, and my brother Bob was like old enough.
Too old to watch?
He was too old to watch. And so neither of us ever saw this movie. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
wish there was a world where that was true.
You too.
Oh, dude, you're too old for this movie.
But you're too young.
I mean, that's kind of true, right? Because there is a point where you don't want to watch a movie with your mom because it's like too awkward, you know?
Oh yeah.
Mom, you're too
Too
old.
old. You're
So-
too old to watch Titanic with me.
Oh, I got a great story about Titanic when we get there.
Next week.
Yeah.
News to me.
Thank God. No, this is one of those movies that, like, my brother, he would watch these movies, and he would come back and he'd kind of like recite these scenes for me, almost like word for word, like the dialogue and everything. And the Sam Jackson scene with, him reading the verse was one of those scenes. And he would go back and forth and do Sam Jackson, he'd do Brett, and back and forth. He'd do Jules and the whole thing. And I just remember him doing like the whole, "Oh, I'm sorry, did I break your concentration?" And I was like, I would just kind of be enthralled with this. Like, he's just telling me another story. And then I finally end up seeing this movie and really piecing it all together. And I just remember thinking like how ridiculous I thought like John Travolta looked in this movie, and things were like silly.
Yeah.
It was like I couldn't pin the time, and like I couldn't really get it, but then I was like enthralled with it at the same time. So it was a movie that kind of made me constantly think as I'm watching it the first time. So that all being said, did I enjoy it? Yes. Did I probably like fake enjoying it more because it was like a movie that like, you better enjoy this movie
have to.
or else you just don't even like cinema. Okay, Sean. And so I will say I'll give this movie, because of that, I will still give this movie nostalgically a straight up 8.
Straight up 8. I didn't see this movie until college, my freshman year. That's when I got to explore like movies, right? To just go, oh, finally I get to watch the movies that like I didn't get to watch when I was in high school. And that's when you watch these films that you can be like, oh, well, I understand Pulp Fiction. Like I'm kind of a, like, me with Boondock Saints, we've talked about it. Be like,
Road Trip, old school. As
you guys don't
just
understand
discovering
this.
cinema. Man.
Memento, like those type of movies where I was
Right.
like, I was actually like, no, I understand film.
I'm a big fan of like Blues Brothers and Pulp Fiction. I'm just like Suits.
Yeah, you see, it's not a big deal. It's like kind of, they jump around time all the
Yeah.
time. It's hard to understand.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But
You might not get it.
But the first time I saw this, like, whether or not I loved it truly or I was pretending to love it, like, I don't know. But it was 9.5. Like,
Nice.
it has to be for me. We got executive producer Michael Guiliano on the show today. He says, I distinctly remember being on our 10th grade trip to Washington, D.C. when someone in our friend group broke out their portable DVD player with some forbidden R-rated DVDs. That night at the hotel, we treated ourselves to a night of debauchery, Euro Trip, Not Another Teen Movie, and Pulp Fiction.
Whoa.
They were the highlights of the night. Unfortunately, by the time Pulp Fiction rolled around, I decided that watching season 1 of Entourage on my PSP was more worth my time. And wow, that might be the most 2000 sentence I've ever said.
Wow, yeah.
Judging by my friend's reaction, I realized I was missing something good. But hey, we all make mistakes as teenagers. This is unfortunately an NA for me.
Whoa.
So he joins Logan over here. Well, I've never seen it.
Log Daddy over
man,
there.
I cannot wait to see
That's
what
what I'm saying. So we are nostalgically, as a group, a 9.17.
Got to
and
be.
if we look at any movie we've done so far, that's going to be number 5, friends. That's going to be just below Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, just above Dumb and Dumber is how we feel about this nostalgically.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
that makes sense. No, it checks out.
Yep, but we're going to wipe that all away. We're going to talk about it with a modern eye. So we got to go to Sean. We got to learn all the important details of the movie. Sean, don't take too long.
I'm going to take as long as it needs. Produced by the Lawrence brothers. No, that Lawrence Bender. Richard Gladstein, Stacey Scher, Michael Schamberg, and Danny DeVito. Based on stories by Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avery, cinematography by Andrei Sukala, did Reservoir Dogs, Hackers, and American Psycho.
All right.
Edited by the great Sally Menke, R.I.P. to her. Written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. Cast: John Travolta, Uma Thurman, Samuel L. Jackson, Tim Roth, Amanda Plummer, Ving Rhames, Rosanna Arquette, Eric Stoltz, Bruce Willis, Maria de Medeiros, Peter Green, Alexis Arquette, Harvey Keitel, and Christopher Walken. After the success of Reservoir Dogs, writer and director Quentin Tarantino took a bit of a sabbatical and just straight up went to Amsterdam. After a few weeks of doing Amsterdam stuff, Seeing movies and reading a bunch of books, Tarantino got to writing but felt like he needed some assistance. He called up collaborator and friend Roger Avery to meet him in Amsterdam so they could flesh out the next project. Initially, the duo wanted to do a few short films, but they quickly realized there was zero interest from investors for such a thing, so the writers decided to combine their respective stories into one film, being inspired largely from the anthology film from Mario Bava called Black Sabbath, and crime fiction magazine called Black Mask, which is what they were going to call the film initially. Avery wrote most of the Gold Watch story arc, while Tarantino wrote the other two segments. They had originally wanted a third writer to come on board and write one of the stories, but that didn't work out. Avery was hard up for some cash for his upcoming wedding. I get you there, fella. And because he wanted to get some financing for his directorial debut in Killing Zoe. When it came to casting the film, Tarantino wrote with a few people in mind, including Tim Roth, Samuel L. Jackson, and Michael Madsen in the role of Vic Vega. Madsen was cast in Wyatt Earp and opted to do that instead. So naturally, Quentin Tarantino had to ask Daniel Day-Lewis. This is what you do when you need some sort of backup.
Oh yeah. Hey, you're my only backup I can think of, and you weren't my first choice, Daniel Day-Lewis. But hey, can you come and just do this movie?
I'm going to need 6 years to prepare.
I don't have that much time.
I'm sorry, I can't.
My buddy's getting married, and he needs money. Okay.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks. Not me, but I'll pass it along.
He declined. Tarantino is a massive John Travolta fan, saying that his performance in Brian De Palma's Blowout is one of the best performances by an actor, period. The two hung out at Tarantino's house, who had pretty much a shrine of Travolta, and played board games. After that, Quentin Tarantino was charmed and couldn't get Travolta as Vincent Vega out of his mind. The actor was cast. Quentin wanted Matt Dillon to play Butch, but the actor was unavailable, so by chance, Tarantino was at a party at Harvey Keitel's house where Bruce Willis was also attending. Willis approached Tarantino and said, "Hey, I love your script." Tarantino said thanks, thinking he was talking about Reservoir Dogs. Willis said, "No, Harvey Keitel gave me a copy of your new thing, and I'd love to play either Vincent or Jules." Tarantino was humbled, but sad that those parts were pretty much on a lock. He asked Willis to read it again, but have the character of Butch in mind instead, and the actor accepted the role as the boxer. Principal photography began on September 20th, 1993, and shot in L.A. on location and on sets. Tarantino, being the loyal filmmaker he is, pretty much got the whole crew he had worked with previously on Reservoir Dogs, with including the same cinematographer, production designers, and producer Lawrence Bender, as well as his ever-important effects crew, in specific the K&B crew for the makeup effects in the film. Jack Rabbit Slims was the most costly set on the whole shoot, costing the production $150,000 to construct and furnish. Pulp Fiction was released on May 21st, 1994 at the Cannes Film Festival, where it won the prestigious Palme d'Or, and then released wide on October 14th, 1994, and on a budget of $8 million, the film made $213.9 million at the box office. It was nominated for 7 Academy Awards, including Best Actor for John Travolta, Best Supporting Actor for Sam Jackson, Best Supporting Actress for Uma Thurman, Best Editing, Best Director, Best Picture, and Best Original Screenplay, in which Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avery would win. Thank you, boys.
It's important to note that this movie and The Shawshank Redemption opened on the exact same day. Ooh. And yet both of them are in the top 10.
Wow.
Of all movies worldwide on IMDb. In fact, the 95 Oscars, Forrest Gump, Shawshank, Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, we might have to do a best 5 and
94 it might be one of the best years ever.
Ice Cube would call that a good day.
He would?
Yeah, I've heard him say that.
Well, up next, we got to go to AJ. He does the research for us, talks about the ratings and reviews from critics and fans alike. What do you got, bro?
I wish I could say this myself, but I think it's more important that...
It's the tomato meter. Gross.
Who was that?
That is Chase.
Chase.
That's Jen's son. She messages often on Instagram and just
Says that her son just likes to do that.
Loves the show, her and her husband, and yeah. So
Your
is
son is
Chase.
on a good path.
Yeah.
We're just letting you know this.
I've never been more flattered in my life.
And now
I'm going to be honest.
If he's still listening, you may want to turn it
You
off.
may, from this point on, maybe this is the end of his listening for this show.
Yes. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, we skipped Surf Ninjas and decided to go to Pulp Fiction to add that in there.
We didn't have our thing.
We didn't have things, man.
We didn't have the thing, okay? It is,
Thanks, Chase.
guys.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Jen, thank you guys so much for listening. And you did it better than I've ever done in the history of this show. That's
correct.
So, thanks, Sean. 92% certified fresh, Daddy-O.
Listen to this company of any movie we've done that is tied with Dazed and Confused, Jurassic Park, Rocky, Shaun of the Dead. Wow.
Ugh. Yeah, all terrible movies.
Ugh.
Stinkers.
Oh man, huge discrepancy here, guys. The audience scored it at a 96%. So huge discrepancy.
Nah, we think it's just a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah. On IMDb, this is an 8.9.
Any guesses where that falls number wise of all the movies we've done?
I want to
Dazed and
say we've
Confused
done
is
a.
up there.
I feel like we've done a 9.0. Have we?
Nope.
Or is this number one?
Princess Bride.
Nope. 8.9 is number one of any movie we have done
Wow.
on IMDb. That is better than The Matrix, Goodfellas, Saving Private Ryan, and T2.
Wow.
Better than all of them.
Better than all of those.
Better than everything that you could ever think of.
I'm going to call it now. No, I'm not. Never mind.
You're right. Let's see here, guys. I wanted to bring this one up. This was done in 2000. And for some reason I don't have the man himself who wrote the thing. Let's see if I can undo this. I'll revert it back to the original. Here it is. This is from Elmar Hafidolson. Yeah.
I'm so glad we waited for that.
Now you're gonna wait longer.
Shit, if I talk, the episode lasts longer.
See, that's weird. Oh no. As with any landmark movie, more has been written about it than would surely seem healthy. The type of wild and hysterical ranting that has surrounded the picture can be a little off-putting, but it's hard to oversell a movie that is so supremely confident in writing and direction. Despite an almost audience-annihilating runtime of nearly 2.5 hours, it is consistently absorbing.
Nice.
Cool.
You're right.
Kind of like my body with when I'm on pudding.
Thanks. I'm glad we waited for that.
I'm glad we waited for that joke. This is Sean's favorite movie, and oh no, he's not thinking about jokes.
He's too excited.
I was like, don't say it, don't say it. And then it won over.
It wanted out. Guys, there's so many critics just absolutely just cupping everything about this movie. Tarantino. Tomato meter. 100 out of 100. Empire said a scintillating piece of filmmaking, the kind of movie you look forward to seeing again, even as you're watching it, and an extraordinary response to both the "dogs is overrated" brigade and the "he'll never top his debut" skeptics.
Wow.
Austin Chronicle 100, again, very satisfying. Classic storytelling, modern techniques, and the images. The movie has embedded so many strange and new mental pictures in my head that I'm not able to shake free. Yet, neither would I want to be free.
Many say there's a sophomore slump kind of syndrome, you know?
Yeah.
It's more like sophomore hump.
All right. Yeah. Just doing a lot.
I will let you talk from now on.
Okay. Variety said that Pulp Fiction is the American graffiti of violent crime pictures. Chicago Sun-Times says, like Citizen Kane, Pulp Fiction is constructed in such a non-linear way that you could see it a dozen times and not be able to remember what comes next.
Nice.
This is the only one that I want to give you guys. I think that, okay, this is a 1 out of 10.
Okay.
There are some of these that exist, so it's important to go over them. I was always wondering why everyone loved this film. If you can see where it's going, this is September 12th, 2023. I think the plot of the film is unclear and too random. It does not have a strong plot or plot twist or something that makes the story enjoyable and the desire to wait until the end. I don't know why everyone defy this film. Missed that one. To be honest, when I watch this, I just want the film to end as soon as possible. I'm too lazy to see a messy and untraceable plot. The character's background also goes back and forth and is confusing. There is no impression as if A causes B to become C. There's just a happening C. There's just A happening, C happening, B happening, X happening, and it's so weird. Ready to accept attacks from Pulp Fiction fans worldwide.
Here it comes.
I'm not gonna come for you, man.
You know what?
You're just too dumb to understand it.
I don't think you're. Oh man, I don't think he's worth it.
Flip it and reverse it.
Okay,
That was good.
That was good.
Is that all you got, AJ?
That's all I got. That's all I want to do.
Well, boys, I want you to listen to this phrase.
Okay.
Here we go. Now, I've been saying that shit for years, and if you ever heard it, that meant your ass was about to hear us talk about scene one. I never gave much thought to what it meant. I just thought it was a cold-blooded thing to say to a motherfucker before I popped a Mike's fan theory in his ass.
Whoa.
But I saw some shit this morning that made me think twice. See, now I'm thinking maybe it means you're the evil man, I'm the righteous man, and Mr. SM7B here, he's the shepherd protecting my righteous asses in the valley of darkness. Or it could mean you're the righteous man and I'm the shepherd and that the world is evil and selfish. And I'd like that, but that shit ain't the truth. The truth is you're the audience and I'm the guy that's going to kick off the scene-by-scene breakdown. But I'm trying, Ringo. I'm trying real hard to be the shepherd. Here we go.
Here we are going.
So scene one, the movie starts with a couple deciding to rob a restaurant. After this, hitmen Jules and Vincent arrive at an apartment to retrieve a briefcase for their boss, gangster Marcellus Wallace. After Vincent checks the contents of the briefcase, Jules shoots two of the people inside. They take the briefcase to Marcellus and wait while he bribes boxer Butch Coolidge to take a dive in his upcoming match. The next day, Vincent purchases heroin from his drug dealer, Lance.
All right. When I press play on this on HBO Max, let me know if you got the same thing. I got an ad for a podcast. And I was like, fuck that. A movie podcast.
What?
Yeah.
What?
How do we get our ads?
How do we
I
do
don't know.
that?
Max, hit us up.
Yeah, Max.
Max, just come for us, man.
The guy named Max.
Yeah.
No, I use that Express VPN to switch my location to watch
yeah.
This is on Netflix, but
Nice.
not in America.
Nice
Idiots.
fucking plug.
You'll hear an ad later about it.
Yeah,
It's fine.
this cold open may be one of the greatest of all time. I don't like there's a lot of them out there for sure, but just like getting you into they are in the middle of a conversation when this movie starts.
Right in the goddamn middle.
Yeah. And then like it's Tim Roth and Amanda Plummer. Like when he cast them, he had them in mind. He just saw them together at like a party or something. He's like, "You guys are in my movie as Honey Bunny and Pumpkin."
How do I get to that party where I could just be like,
It's a
kind of
certain-
acting cool and be like, oh, Tarantino's gonna be there, so
Act
you gotta
like I'm not acting.
you gotta talk to me like I'm cool. And then I'm like smoking cigarettes weird. You gotta don't smoke cigarettes. You know,
Sitting weird in your chair.
yeah, like trying to not be uncomfortable like I always am. Yeah, that's what I would need to
I
find.
imagine you smoking a cigarette like from the side. Like
Yeah.
You just puncture a hole in it and
Yeah,
burn yourself a little bit. But it's also really fucking cool because you can hear Jules and Vincent's conversation in the background.
So, Sean, you know how much I love doing this podcast with you because I am very observational in movies. I love like finding stuff, but like I look so much harder when we're about to do our review that I see shit that I've watched this movie 40 times. You see Vincent walk past them.
Yeah.
I was
And
gonna
I
bring this
never
up.
ever noticed that.
This is one of my favorite things, like in a movie. I was literally trying to find the timestamp. I was like, while the intro was playing, I had it right here. And I was like, oh, where's it happen? Where's it happen? And I believe it's just something, I think it's over the shoulder of Honey Bunny.
And it's just barely. He's like sort of way off to the side, and you would never know it.
No.
Ever.
And
like
it's just
unless
great.
you've seen it 90,000 times, you know, like it's really cool because I do believe that they bump the audio on that point too. Like they bring that in over the other chatter going on in the cafe, and it's just really cool. There's other times in the movie that I'll bring up too where it's like the audio mixing is really kind of underrated in this because I'll bring it up later, but also, you know, you can hear Honey Bunny and Pumpkin in the last scene, and then he shows them obviously, but it's great. I mean, you just get fucking Dick Dale, right?
Yeah, like right off the bat.
Yeah, it's
it's
so good.
It's I would wait till the end, but I'm sure by the time we get there, I'm gonna forget about it. So I'm just gonna say it now. The dialogue that you hear from Honey Bunny, that line that she says when she stands up on the table or when they're standing up, is different from the dialogue in the end. And I think it might have been a commentary that Tarantino, they were like, oh yeah, you didn't catch that flub. It's like, that was not a flub. This is a perception. It's all about the perception of you hearing it from them and what happens, and then also hearing it from the perspective of Jules and Vincent, and hearing it differently. And it's like, I feel like you could have made that up, but at the same time, I have nothing to back it up.
But see, that has always bugged me.
Yeah.
This is the first time she says, motherfucking last one of you.
That's why, yeah.
And by the way, there's a band called Fun Lovin' Criminals. I think I've talked about them. They sample that line in a song called Scooby Snacks.
Okay.
So everybody knows that. So that's the one that I know, and I hear it in my head. But then the second time she says, every one of you motherfuckers.
Yes.
And it bothers me. And I read
First one is every last one of you. Sorry.
Every motherfucking last one of you.
Right.
And it bugs me, and I don't like that explanation at all. I don't like that.
You don't think it's valid?
I don't know if it is valid or not, but I don't care. Like, it just bugs me.
Still,
and it doesn't need to be that way. Like, just make it the same.
Sure.
That and along, like, why does her mouth freezes, like she keeps talking, but she freezes before she ends the sentence. Little things like that, I can't decide if I like or not.
It's very 90s. It's very just like, this is a whole new movie that no one's ever seen before, and he's going to do different shit. I don't know.
I think that's an interesting take on it too, is like when you know, we get to watch these movies so much later and like after the fact, right? But if you were to go and see this in the theater on the release day, you know, whatever it is, you chose to go see this instead of Shawshank Redemption, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know? It is. It's kind of almost revolutionary.
It is.
Yeah.
I just don't like the different dialogue thing, but the freeze frame, like I'm in.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, it was a creative choice, but I'm down with it. I don't.
It's like the shortest Mandela effect ever.
Yeah. but I'll tell you what, like if they had not started with this and they had just started with the intro, as good as the music is, it's way too long.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
but the fact that I know what I'm getting into now and that I've already seen this intro, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the music. But like, don't you feel like this intro just kind of like, come on, get to the fucking movie?
I don't know, man. I am someone who like, especially with like prestigious directors like this, you know, I am someone who loves a cool fucking intro, like credits intro kind of thing. It's boring, I guess, but like you get it's fucking rock and roll with Dick Dale, and then you changes the station.
The radio station change is one of my favorite things.
That's just a Tarantino thing, basically, isn't it?
Kind of a lot of the times, and like especially in this movie, it is his like more omniscient, I think is the word to use, where the music in the movie is happening.
It's in their
the world,
scene.
yeah.
Because doesn't it fade out and then it's pretty much in their car?
Yeah,
like
Jungle Fever.
Right as you come out of that, they're listening to that in the car.
Yeah.
Which is just like, so perfect.
And you see, you know, Sam Jackson and
Johnny Travolta.
John Travolta. I don't know why I blanked on that. You see them in this car, and they look like they're out of the 70s.
It feels
very
like the 70s, doesn't it?
Right? But this is 90s.
But maybe it's the music.
It has to be. It's the movies. It's the car.
The look.
It's their look, the suits, the hair.
That warm LA glow that's always kind of coming through windows from the sun, from like the low sun.
It's just this outside shot, and like, you know, Vincent's hair is blowing and like in the wind, and they're also kind of having this conversation. Again, it's kind of a mid-conversation thing. It's, you know, him talking about Amsterdam, and you know, it's the little differences. You know, you can go into a movie theater and get a glass of beer. I'm not talking about no paper cup. I'm talking about a glass of beer. You know, and it's the way that he's describing things, and like it really comes back to that Tarantino dialogue that I just really like. It's pointless conversation that seems important. I don't know.
It sucks you right in. It's impossible to turn away from any frame of this movie, even when it's just people talking.
It's because it's just cool. It's real cool talk.
Yeah.
That not many people would know how to write. Not many people can talk really cool in real life.
Yeah.
But for them, they make it. The dialogue makes it seem so effortless that you just want to you just want to be. It's like the future version of podcasts where you just want to listen to people talk and just go,
Yeah.
I love this conversation.
Like
they're
when you
having,
get when you're reading a book with like a really good author who is just like the prose is like why, like you could even care less about the story, but just the words itself is just like so infectious and like, oh, I want to use that word, or I didn't know they put mayonnaise on French fries in Holland instead of ketchup, like shit like that too, where it's like, I didn't know that. I've never been to Amsterdam.
No.
Yeah. And it's how does it pick up where he just says, so get this, it's legal to buy it. It's legal to have it. It's legal to
If you're the
sell it.
proprietor of the hash bar, it's legal to sell it.
And like just going on through, and he's just like, I'm going, man. I'm going tomorrow.
I know,
it's
baby.
like
You dig it the most.
you dig it the most, man. And like you just know that they have this history. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's another thing too. I'm glad you said that. They seem like fucking great friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long they've known each other. Maybe this is like their first thing, or something.
But they spend so much time together for one job. Like, how long have they already been in the car this morning?
Like a lot of their scenes reminds me of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Cliff Booth and Rick Dalton's relationship, where it's just like, I would watch these guys do fucking anything.
Yeah, they should have their own buddy show.
They
something
should have
like
a
that.
podcast.
They should have a podcast.
Whoa.
Dude.
People should hear our conversation.
They should do it. They should record it in the car. Oh, they're just driving around, dude. Dude.
This though, like, I'm already sucked in, and I'm like trying to be critical, but I'm like just putting my phone down just to like enjoy it. When this choice to make them come up to the door, they're still having their conversation, to make them go, yeah, it's not time yet, to have them go down the hallway, but the camera stays where it's at and they finish their conversation. No one would ever make that choice back in like 95.
Come on, man. Let's get into character.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a big wonder shot.
Yes.
It's a big wonder shot.
That camera would normally break and then go up to them and follow them there and like get close up on their faces. Yeah. This one doesn't. And it's so great. And like, but why is it not time yet? Do they ever say that, Sean?
I think they're just extreme professionals. Like, because what we learned to find out is that Marvin is like
he's an informant
for him. So he's like, be here at this time, maybe, is kind of my thinking of it. Where it's like, be here at this time, and so they're going to be there at that time. You know, like no matter, even if they're early, fuck that. Like right on the dot, they're going to be there at 6:30 or some shit.
And it gives us time to finish this conversation. And then we go.
By the way, think of it from like the other side of that door, and think about how long they're outside that door hanging out, and those guys are still just sitting there like eating their burger, and like they're about to just get blown away.
They don't even know it.
And like think about the guy who ended up going into the bathroom. Had they actually gone in at that time, that guy would have been standing there.
I'm glad you brought it up, because I think a lot of what this movie's about is like just like chance and time.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so brilliant, why this movie is like split up the way it is. Because I think even too, well, we'll get to a bunch more scenes where this point where we're late to it, but I think that there's something to say about like a lot of things wouldn't happen if just this one thing didn't happen. And that's kind of like what goes on through this movie. I after watching this, I like went to work and was thinking like, you know what? I don't know what a lot of Tarantino movies are like really about.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like you could say Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's mostly like about Hollywood, and that's even about chance too. But like I didn't really see a point in Pulp Fiction. I just watched it because it was so fucking cool and good.
Right.
But I think there's a lot to say about like theology and chance and time, especially like watching it over 3 times in the past week.
Well, can we? I want to come back to that later too. Can we just take 1 second though to talk about Sam Jackson?
Yeah.
And like this is where like he's so good in this whole movie, but this whole scene. Like, look at the big brain on Brad, which is weird. By the way, he says he totally says Brad.
He says Brad,
and his name's Brett.
Yeah.
But like whatever. But that when he's drinking the Sprite and he's making the eye contact while he's just slurping it up. Hey, I'm not talking to you, flock of seagulls. Like this whole moment to me is the reason why any of us know who Sam Jackson is.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if this scene does not happen and he is not so perfect in this movie, he's not who we know him to be.
Like you could argue that he's the star of the movie, and like he has probably more screen time than John Travolta, even though they're mostly on screen together.
John was lead actor and he was supporting actor.
Yeah.
That's strange, but I mean,
I know, yeah. It's. I mean, I think it's just politics. The politics for an award show, but
Well, as we go through, the only consistent character through all the lines is Vincent.
it's true. He is in everyone. There you
So
go.
it's kind of like it's almost like his telling,
It sort of is.
sure.
which is kind of a scary thing.
Well, before we get into most of this scene, what do you guys think? Is a foot massage and eating someone out in the same ballpark?
Yeah.
Think so?
Yeah.
I mean, would you,
Of course.
you ever give a guy a foot massage?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you. No, Vincent's absolutely right. Like if someone gave my fiance a foot massage, you'd be like, that
fuck
is
are you doing?
sensual touching.
Yeah.
And I will throw you out a fucking window.
Yeah. It is on that point of like, you know what? You gotta take a step back. Like, but I like how, I'm sure we'll bring it up later when we get to Jackrabbit Slims, but I like the way that these stories are told from different perspectives. And I think it kind of, again, it's going to tie back to all about perspective, even when we're talking about that first line from Honey Bunny and hearing it again later on. It's all about perspective. And, you know, Mia's version and telling of that is very different from Jules and from Vincent, and like the way that people, it's like this telephone game throughout the entire movie. It's interesting.
That's a good point.
But I would touch her feet. She's got great feet.
She's
But
got
anyway,
great
that's
feet.
fine. If
I
she
mean,
asks, that's fine.
he shoots feet like no one else.
Yeah.
I love when they first walk in and Flock of Seagulls is like kind of getting up. He's like,
Yeah.
hey, no, keep chilling.
He's like,
keep chilling.
Come on, keep chilling.
Trying to put his feet back
and
up.
he's like, put your feet back up.
Okay.
This
So,
is one tasty
Some
burger.
tasty
on the
burger.
note of Sam Jackson, I do believe this is his best role
I think
of
so.
all time.
I think so.
It has
It's
to
hard
be.
to top this. But of all of the amazing stuff he's done, this is just fucking.
This is my Sam Jackson.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's his movie almost to me. Like
We'll talk about it as we go. But if this movie is not what it is, if it's not for the people that are in the roles and them doing the absolute 10 out of 10 best performance that they could possibly do with it.
Yeah.
Because it's not the same. It's not believable if these guys aren't doing the way they are in this movie.
I'm sure they're eating it up too, man, with this dialogue. It's just like how can they not just be in this universe as good as they are, you know?
Yeah. One thing to note on Sam Jackson before we do move on, because I have a question for you guys. The wigs, man, like the hair for both of these characters is like top tier, but also obnoxious. But then these are like the two guys that you would not say anything to them if you thought their hair was ridiculous.
No. Which is maybe why it's so bad. 'cause
Yeah,
nobody tells them.
No
it's
one's
bad.
gonna tell them like it's like this. It's like
Vincent.
it's like, dude. Well, and Sam Jackson was supposed. They tried like several different like large afros that they wanted for Sam Jackson's
like
character,
that.
and they had one that was like this Jerry Curl kind
They
of.
threw some soul glow on
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So glow.
Because it's always shiny.
So glow. But they've tried it on, and I wasn't. I think it must have been Sam Jackson that was just like, I think this
is the one.
This is the one.
'Cause he
And
just wanted to walk around with it with the big old burns, two
Yeah.
sideburns on the side.
yeah, and it was the same, borderline the same story for Vincent. He was supposed to be a more like clean cut.
Yeah. He was going to be
And-
like his brother, Vic Vega.
That's right.
But
See?
no, he's like, no.
No. So, my question to you guys, is it worth diving into what's in the
Yes.
briefcase?
This
It
is the time
We can
to
do it.
ask the
Okay.
questions.
Okay.
Does anybody have a definitive answer of what you think's in the briefcase?
No, I mean my definitive answer is de facto, and probably Tarantino's answer is whatever you want.
Okay. But
Like,
let's
that's
have some fun.
Yeah,
here.
sure.
Let's have, do you have any theories? I've got I scoured the internet for theories.
I
here.
know that it's one of them is Marcellus's soul, and that's why he's got the Band-Aid on the back of his
because
head.
there's traditional folklore that the devil does pull your soul from the back
There
of your
is?
head.
Okay.
There
so
is folklore
the
about
thing
that.
I watched said there's nothing.
Well, we're gonna shut up, Sean. And which is also like the 666 on the
Yeah.
briefcase. Which, by the way, Mason came back from LA and TSA had searched his briefcase, and the dude left it on 666.
What a jerk.
No, how awesome is that?
Fuck yeah,
What?
dude.
That's
What?
a-
The
that's a
devil
medal.
rifling through your shit?
That's
no,
metal,
that's
dude.
not
Fucking Slipknot, bro, dude. Fuck yeah.
No, dog. Like,
All right, what do you got?
mine was pretty much in line with that. Now the other one that I want it to be.
Okay.
This is what I want it to be, but to my understanding, there's no possible valid way. But I wanted it to be the diamonds from Reservoir Dogs.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
And that fits well. What about Wonka's golden ticket? What about
Of course, yeah.
What about Gwyneth Paltrow's head from Seven?
Okay.
But I do want to be honest with you. This one I actually heard from Paul Scheer.
Okay.
He read this on a Pulp Fiction thing, and he got it from a Reddit thread that is no longer. But I've found where it is. And this one, at first I laughed at, but then I was like, dude. So here he thinks that rock and roll is in the briefcase. So Pulp Fiction was about music in America. The briefcase is rock and roll. Marcellus represents the origin of rock music in America. Jules is Chuck Berry. Vincent is Elvis. They go to get the briefcase back from the nerdy white guys trying to steal their music. Maybe they represent greedy record producers that profited off of black music, screwed over black musicians. The reason the guy that unloads the gun on them is unable to hit him is because legends of music can never die and will be around forever. Jewel realizes this and realizes he's fighting a pointless fight. Pumpkin and Honey Bunny happen to be British, and they also take the briefcase. They represent the British invasion. The British invasion was completely influenced by blues and older pop music. Jules lets them leave with the money, but he keeps his bad motherfucker wallet because they can steal and be influenced by the music, but they can't take style. They have to come up with their own style. Jules even mentions that he's trying real hard to be a shepherd. Butch is introduced as the boxer, being told by Marcellus to throw a fight. Butch represents new and interesting rock music that continues to come out that Marcellus doesn't like. Butch doesn't throw the fight and runs away. They both get captured by rednecks while a country song is playing. The rapists represent country music. Country music also stole a lot from the blues and other black music. This is shown by them raping Marcellus. Butch has a chance to escape, but decides to go back to save him out of respect. Marcellus agrees to let Butch live, and they truce, go separate ways. Marcellus accepts that there will always be new music, and there's nothing he can do to stop it. The watch represents that as time moves on, more new music continues to come in and be made, and they will all be influenced by what came before them.
Wow.
Boom. You heard it here first.
That is, yeah.
Like this is not correct. Like this is not right. But it's a very cool way to look at.
You know what I'm gonna do?
characters.
I still feel compelled.
I'm gonna go watch the movie again and think about that and have a little fun with it.
And pretend that each of these characters represent music.
Just have a little fun with it.
Nah, I don't think you'll have
think that.
fun. I think you'll hate it.
It sounds like it's gonna ruin my good time, and I just
Yeah.
want to tell the world
It's
how much.
just a movie.
Thanks, Paul Scheer and whoever wrote that on
Yeah,
Reddit,
dude,
because it's
that's-
not out there anymore. But
that's
he
really
brought it to
cool.
my attention. So.
That is awesome. I really like that a lot.
I love that.
I also like to think that what is actually in there, because Jules says it later in the film, is my boss's dirty laundry. Like it's just like a fucking sick jacket.
It's a
like a
gold-plated
gold
dildo.
sequin fucking like Michael Jackson replica or some shit.
Yeah.
Like it just prized possession.
What if it was Michael Jackson's glove?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Let's
But it
go.
was 2 light bulbs and a battery. It's actually.
Well, of course,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
What do you think? So after this, they do go to see Marcellus. They go to that dope. Talk about bars you want to hang out in.
Oh, yeah.
Like I want to hang out in this red lounge that they got. But
the strip club.
yeah, the strip club, right? But in the daytime when nobody's there.
Oh sure.
I do have a question. Do they ever address this hostility between Butch and Vincent?
No, I think Vincent is just coming off of like a bad day.
Obviously,
Obviously, it's been a bad day.
Yeah.
think about where this is at in their day,
And
that
now
we
they're-
finally see.
Now they're poking fun of him for taking out Mia later that night.
They're still egging that one
And
on.
he's a little annoyed.
He's annoyed with that one. You got to remember he's wearing the clothes that were given to him by Jimmy after he shot Marvin in the face. Had to clean up all the brain matter and the inside of this car, and like after everything he has been through. And then it's like, what are you staring at, Punchy?
Punchy.
Yeah. Palooka.
Well, this is what John. This is one of the movies where it makes so much sense. Like you envy someone that has never seen this before.
Oh, my God.
Because the first time you watch this, when you're like, what the fuck are they wearing? Because you
Yep.
just have no idea what has happened.
The immediate next scene, they're not
Like,
wearing
oh,
suits
did they
anymore.
just change or what? I don't understand what happened.
USC banana slugs.
It's awesome.
I really like these interactions, and again, I think this is one of those movies that one of the reviews says it that you kind of almost want to rewatch it while you're watching it, and you watch it once and you're like, well, now I want to watch it again because I want to make these connections, even that they make so subtly in these interaction scenes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There'll be one coming up. Well, no, I guess we're already inside of it because this is still scene one where Vince does go and get drugs from Lance.
Yeah.
And he says, man, he's like, you know what? I've had it out 5 days and somebody keyed my car, my Malibu. He's like, man, that is just wrong. And then you start putting it together after this interaction in the bar that Butch is he is the one who keyed his car.
And how he doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, and then like it's funny how Butch probably walked out of the bar. He's like, that's probably that asshole's car.
He's like, of course that's his car. You know, that like it's got the hair to match. You know what I mean?
He's got that shitty Honda,
Yeah.
and he's
right.
driving this car. He's like, God damn it.
It's like, of course it is. Oh, dude. But those are the little connections that you keep getting a taste of, and you do need to rewatch, and you have to pay attention. You have to put your phone down. You got to turn the lights off. Do whatever you got to do so you can pay attention to these details of these types of movies, man.
Ving Rhames is Marcellus. I love how they don't show him quite yet.
Yeah.
It's the best when like even in like kind of Reservoir Dogs, how they turned away from I believe that was Marvin too, of Marvin Nash getting his ear cut off.
Marvin Nash.
Marvin
Nash.
Nash with a G.
Nash.
Nash. Why is that so funny?
Nash.
Nash. My mom's
Love it.
Nash.
I know you're a cop.
Freddie Vachetti. Yeah. But no, it's like it is just like a like I know that he's pulling from like Sergio Leone, kind of like not showing the bad guy quite yet, you know, not showing the big bad quite yet.
When is the technical first time you see him? It's at the crosswalk when he turns his head and goes, "Motherfucker!" I think that's the first. Oh wait,
It's at the fight.
I think that's the first time you see his face.
Oh no, I think you're right because he is turned around when he's I would scout the earth for that motherfucker.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
So the first time you're watching it, it's like, is that Marcellus?
yeah.
Because he's still turned around when he's in the like the dressing room.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's awesome.
Man, yeah. But the idea of just leaving a Band-Aid on the back of his neck for no reason and there not being a significance to it, that's like a comic book frame. Like that shot is like a comic book frame, and like it's like this is the big bad, and he's got this Band-Aid on the back of his neck.
Yeah.
And it's like, but why? And there's never an explanation. You know, that's really given.
You can do it. That's why whether all of this stuff was intentional by Quentin or whether it wasn't, it doesn't matter, because if you can write a script good enough to let fan theories get in there, whether it was true or not, whether you meant it or not, that just shows you how good it is.
Just to instigate this type of
because it's just so open. It's like, I don't know, maybe the fucking devil took it out of his brain. His
Well,
soul's gone.
and that it's worth it. It's worth to look at a different way. You know, like any of the movies that we do that we have these theories on.
No, fan theories are not worth it. Stop wasting your
Stop wasting
You
your
have
time,
way too much time on your hands.
Just enjoy it.
yeah.
But yeah, they like in all seriousness, it is worth it.
Yeah.
It
It
is like
is.
this is art, and it's worth being discussed, and it's worth maybe someone saying like, "Oh, I saw it this way," and like if you know someone's angered by that, I don't know what to do with you. You know, like
Yeah.
it's not even just that it's a fucking great movie. It's that you're right. It does offer those things. It offers those kind of like the questions that aren't answered. You have to fill in on your own, and that's I think Tarantino is deliberate in that, and most of it anyway.
One of the reviews, I kind of chose to just not read it because it was a little long-winded, and it was another 1 out of 10, and it was mostly one of the first things that this guy says is, you know, Tarantino is so self-esteemed is the words he used, but I don't think that's the right thing.
Yeah, I don't think
But it's like it reminds me of maybe I should have fucking read it.
No, you're reading it now. It's all good.
I'm not reading it now, but it's like okay, well, one, you messed that up, but at the same time, it's like I get it, like self-involved or like, you know, it's like it's the equivalent of it insists upon itself, right? And I get it, but at the same time, these are the movies that you watch not for like not to be spoon-fed.
Yeah.
And that is like if you didn't have people who were coming up with these types of fan theories like surrounding this movie, like I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's what makes it so fun, I guess, and so rewatchable.
It's got to be personal with these directors that we cover, like Scorsese and Tarantino and De Palma, even, or anything like that. It's all these stories are probably personal to them, especially being a writer director like Quentin Tarantino is. It's got to be that way, you know. Jordan Peele, I think, says it too. He's like, I wanted to make my movie because I wanted to see a movie I hadn't seen yet, or I wanted to see a movie that no one had made yet because I hadn't made it.
Right.
And that's what these guys are doing.
That's so important. There's so much like the world just gets so caught up in trying to recreate something that it saw before or that made the big box office hit.
Literally
and then
all that's happening.
They try to redo it, sometimes even to the point of remaking a movie that doesn't need to be remade. And that's all that comes out. And then you get a Jordan Peele or a Tarantino that will create something. Thank God that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's do scene 2. So after shooting up, Vincent drives to meet Marcellus' wife, Mia, to take her out for dinner. They eat at Jackrabbit Slim's, participate in a twist contest, and then return home. While Vincent is in the bathroom, Mia overdoses. Vincent rushes her to Lance's house, where they revive her with an injection of adrenaline into the heart. Vincent drops Mia off at her home, and the two agree never to tell Marcellus about the incident.
So one of the packets of heroin is called Bava, which is Mario Bava, the director, which is who made Black Sabbath.
This is Bava.
That it
Very good.
This is Bava.
inspired the multiple stories. Anyway,
Nice.
You guys go.
How good is Eric Stoltz in this, though?
No, he's one of my favorite performances in this for some odd reason.
I just like that that's who, because like the majority of drug dealers, that's who they are.
Is that right?
I'm not saying I've ever.
Oh, well, I don't.
No, you know, like
I've never been to a
wait.
heroin den.
How do you know?
I've gone with friends before. Okay?
Okay.
But like it's always
Tagged
like
along.
the dude that's just in his
You
house.
don't just go with a friend to a heroin
Yes, you
den.
do.
I
Like,
tagged-
that's what
you're-
it's like.
Hey, I'm going to Walmart real quick.
Yeah.
Hey man, you just don't know the right people, all right?
All right,
dude?
I guess.
I'm looking for a friend. Maybe you can help me find him. His name is Heron. Can you help me find this friend?
No.
I hope that's a movie quote.
It is a movie quote.
Okay, good.
Let's get him to the Greek.
I was waiting for that.
Logan's seen that one.
And then you have oh god damn it, what's his name? TJ from Deadpool.
Miller.
TJ Miller, and he's in a hotel, and he's like the hotel like concierge. He's like, "Are you literally asking me if I can help you find heroin?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry." He's like, "Yes, I can. Meet me in my car." It's like, What is this, Tokyo Drift? Oh my god! They end up getting shot. It's great. Anyways, Pulp Fiction, right, guys?
What were you saying, Mike?
Tell us more about
we're
heroin
moving on.
dens, Mike.
Well, okay, we're gonna talk about heroin. I have problems in movies sometimes when people are acting drunk or acting stoned.
Yeah.
When you're like, yeah, just get stoned and do it because I'm not buying it. Now I have never done heroin, but like I 100% believe that Vincent Vega just shot up when he's driving through the city and just going, and the breeze is in his hair. When he fucking, like, how slow he walks up the driveway and he kind of like bumps into a plant.
Yeah.
And the most amazing thing of all time of him inside the house going, ugh.
Oh, dude.
And he's holding the jacket. Like, I love John Travolta so much in this role.
All right, are we talking about him now?
Let's do it.
So,
This is his big scene.
Big like comeback, pretty much. You know, Tarantino like rediscovering John Travolta that like he ever fucking left. You know,
Because he was like Grease stardom. Then he kind of fell out. Then I think
Look Who's Talking movies was like what he was doing. You know,
And it was, the first one was like kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then I think it did fall off again to before this,
Like,
right?
if you're making 3 of them, really?
It means it's popular. We're
I
gonna
guess
do
so.
this.
Something's going right.
We're gonna do it at some point.
Good paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this is the it's probably well seeing those movies, you know, coming from like Look Who's Talking and everything like that. And he like that's not really a character. He's just kind of serving the plot, you know, with what's her name?
Kirstie Alley.
Thank
Kirstie
you.
Alley.
And then like I would say
the
Grease,
baby talks.
Yeah. I
Oh,
would say
that's funny.
Now the dog talks.
Look Who's Talking
Man.
too.
Also,
Who's gonna talk next?
PG-13.
PG-13.
and then he's fucking shoots up some heroin. Now the chair talks.
Yeah.
But like I would say like Grease is a character. Like he's playing a
Yes.
like
Yeah.
Johnny or
Yeah, whatever.
He's
Johnny
playing-
Grease. I
Yes,
think that's
Grease Lightning, right?
his
But
name's
like,
Johnny
this
Grease.
is like
Lightning.
come back to like a character, like
Yes.
something to chew on.
Showing
for
his
him.
chops.
Yeah, like he talks different in this. You know, he talks like kind of talks like Sam Jackson would
Yeah.
in some of these things. But I don't know. He's really fucking good in this, and I think it's really just because it's like I've been saying a character and not just like fill this role for me, would you
This
please?
is a real, believable character
Yeah.
that this guy can, like you said, chew on.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, you literally nailed it. But they go. If I'd like to believe that this could happen in the real world, but I know it wouldn't. But can't we just believe that Jackrabbit Slims can be a place that we would all go to and that it would be successful?
I don't know why it's not a chain. I think they tried
Like in
to do it-
Milwaukee?
or like a pop up for like a few months somewhere in LA or something like that.
Oh,
Like that'd be great. Why don't you just do that? Like just pick a warehouse and fill it with all this bullshit.
Because you
Get some
can't
chefs.
because you get some chefs.
Just do it.
Just get a chef and some race cars. Or
Yeah, that's all you gotta fucking do. And the problem is that because you can't hire people based on how they look to play
Oh,
these
no.
characters. That's why it could never happen.
You have
anymore.
to let me play Marilyn
Yeah.
Monroe, or else you'll be hearing from my attorney. It's like, fuck,
It's
that's
like,
the end of our
well,
business.
There it
'Cause
goes.
you're not Marilyn Monroe, so
Yeah.
fucking whatever.
People are supposed to buy this. Okay, they need to buy into this for at least a few seconds.
This
okay?
is a place I would go all the time.
Hands down.
Do you remember Ragtop Diner in Cedar Rapids? It was where Panera is on Council Street. It was kind of like this. Like they played oldies music.
Wasn't Bebop's kind of like that?
I don't think Bebop's was
No.
like that. But they had like milkshakes and they had like old time food and like the booths were kind of like cars, sort of. Not to that extent.
Yeah.
Was that near Chapman's at all?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
No, I don't remember that, but that sounds fucking
I just
fantastic.
think it was more of an old timey thought, but now it's people are like, well, why would I go there if I can go to Applebee's?
Sure.
The dude, Cheesecake Factory's next door. Fuck
Yeah,
that.
they got plenty of crazy shit on the wall. It's like, why I got to go to the Jackrabbit Slim's place? Pay too much
crazy
more.
shit on the wall.
Yo, what's the name of that place with all the chicken and the crazy shit on the wall?
Oh, you mean shenanigans?
Oh, you mean Jackrabbit Slims?
You mean Jackrabbit Slims?
Oh.
No.
I'd be remiss to miss out on the Warrior shot, the mic and close up mouth. We talked about it when we did Warriors, and
So that's a tribute to that, right?
tribute to Warriors. Yeah, he loves that movie. But yeah, like this the whole set of this thing is fucking immaculate, and
Dude.
it's fucking really cool. We talk about it, but like, yeah, I would fucking really go
The
there.
race cars on that track.
Yeah.
And again, the grandeur of it, that oneer shot that follows him around, just
Yeah.
dude, he's high right now.
He is-
so imagine
he is, yeah.
imagine what's going through his head. But do you notice again, he walks past them. He
Yeah.
walks
Yes.
past their booth. Again, I never even thought to see that because he's looking off to the left and he just passes Vincent. Oh,
That's
yeah.
right here.
Yeah, okay, cool. And he comes back. I mean, and to your point again, you don't even see Mia. You only see her lips. You hear her talking. You see her legs, her feet, and the back of her head, and then you don't see her like her face
the
until
car.
the
Oh, wow,
car.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
When she says, "Don't be a quadrilateral."
Yeah. Yep. Don't
Not
be a
square.
rectangle.
It's a rectangle. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
That bothers me.
Yeah, that pisses me off.
You're right. She drew it wrong.
But like you're right,
You know,
even the camera behind him following him is like taking it all in, you know, because David Waska, the production designer, did all this fucking work.
They
so
spent a lot of money.
a lot of goddamn money. And so Tarantino's gonna be like, he's gonna take the camera and just slowly walk through the
They're-
whole fucking place.
they're
you
gonna
know?
get their money's worth out of this scene,
Yeah.
or this set at least to some degree. I think this comes back to the dialogue and these moments that the moments that they have in this car, though, and even bringing up the point of like, don't you hate that? Awkward silences. Like we have to talk like and like just fill the air with like meaningless bullshit just so we can like tolerate each other. Like that kind of. It's a great point to be making. And then this is again, it's a game of telephone and conversation. Did you think of something to say? Now that she gets back, and by the way, powder her nose. That's a funny little. I get it. Oh, okay.
It was the 90s.
Snorting cocaine.
Yeah.
So, but coming back, he's like, I did, but you seem like a nice person, and I don't want to offend you. It's like, no, you can't do that. Okay, fine. And he brings up the thing about Rocky
Tony Rocky Horror.
Tony Rocky Horror.
So great
They always
name.
say it kind of funny, right?
Horror.
Tony Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
And they bring it up, and he says no. It's, like someone would say that Marcellus threw him out that window. When Jules said that a couple of guys went and threw him out the window, and then she also claims nobody, and she says, I don't know what you're talking about, but then flips the script again and says, no one knows why Marcellus threw him out that window.
Oh, yeah, she does say that.
Yeah. And it's like, so now you're confirming that this is a true thing. And all he did, and the only time he ever touched me was when he shook my hand at my wedding.
Yeah.
Which we'll see her shake Vincent's hand later on. At the end of the night.
All right.
Chew on that.
No, like on top of all that too, it's like that we heard about that story earlier in the script, and now we're bringing it back, and that's what he's like. It's just beautifully written to bring all that back with Mia. I love their chemistry so much. Like when you said the whole thing about don't you hate that when you just can't shut the fuck up for a few minutes? That's when you know you found someone really great.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we're quite there yet, but we just met, so don't feel bad. I love it.
Yep.
Like I've taken that like in my own life just to be like, we don't have to talk all the fucking time like me and my fiance or like dates before that or
What
whatever.
are you thinking about?
Yeah.
So what
Fucking
you
nothing.
thinking?
We never talk anymore. We're talking right now.
We're literally
about
talking.
how we never talk.
We just got done talking a lot. I don't know what else you want. Like,
But that observational style of dialogue that Tarantino just sees something cool and like writes it down.
Yeah.
Like don't you just love when you come back from the bathroom and your food's waiting for you? That is a universal thing
Oh, yeah.
that everyone loves.
we would always say that, like, oh,
If I get up and go to the bathroom now,
yeah, then the food will come, right?
Exactly.
I better go.
but no one's ever put that in a movie.
Yeah.
No.
And
It's
now
just
I
a-
think about it every time.
Yes.
Every time that
Exactly.
happens, Steve Buscemi.
Well, can we consult the Jarrett Layoff
I think we
Confused
should.
Breakfast
Oh,
actor
Daddy.
database? Steve Buscemi's appearance in Pulp Fiction ties him with the #1 spot with John Candy
Wow.
with 8 appearances.
Are you serious?
John Candy now is tied with Steve Buscemi in any movie we've done for the most appearances.
Where's Sam Jackson at?
Sammy Jackson, this is his 5th.
5th. Wow.
And then you got Bruce Willis at 4, and then it drops off from there. But
Also solid.
those are the big ones.
Wow. Man, I like Steve Buscemi in this. It's almost like, hey, I want you in my movie, but I don't know where to put you, bro. I'm so sorry. Like,
He's like, whatever.
I just happened to see these other people at a party I was at, and I decided to cast them because I was high,
Well.
And I already made a commitment. I signed it on a napkin. Apparently, that's binding, and here we are. So I've got a part. It's a waiter. Oh.
I've got a part. I want you to play Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he does it.
He pitches him. It's like, you're going to play Buddy Holly.
Oh, that sounds great, Tarantino.
Yeah, and then he gets there. He's like, I'm Buddy Holly for 5 seconds as a waiter.
And
I'm
yet-
not even Buddy Holly. I'm a guy who plays Buddy Holly as a waiter.
Yeah.
What the?
Yep.
Damn it, Quentin.
I am Daryl Marks
Yeah.
Marxist.
playing Buddy Holly.
No, he's Mr. Pink.
Yeah.
And hiding out.
Yep.
We all know this.
But
We know this.
He does play it perfectly too, and it does.
How about you, Betty Sue? Or Peggy Sue?
Yeah, it's great because obviously it's a guy who is there to play Buddy Holly and but he's working.
But he's
So like,
working.
fucking, you want that Amos and Aaron or what? You want,
Yeah. You want that Martin and Lewis or Amos and Andy? Martin and Lewis.
You know that bloody as hell or
Bloody as
Burnt to a
hell,
crisp.
burnt to a crisp.
I don't even fucking care.
And
Well,
you
he's in the weeds, like he's got 5 tables, and they all got sat at the same
Oh
time.
yeah,
It's like shit.
He's pissed, and because Marilyn Monroe,
This
he's
guy's
covering for
clearly
Marilyn
high.
Monroe because she's got to go do the dress
She
thing
does
again.
the dress thing every
It's
5
like
minutes.
God. Every time there's a table turn.
Jane Mansfield didn't show up.
Yeah,
that night.
exactly. Yeah, she should be here. She must not be on tonight. He's covering this whole damn place. How many girls do you think he says? How about you, Peggy Sue?
Yeah.
That's his line.
That's his line,
They gave him
right?
the cards. They go, call
Yeah.
the girls this.
Do this.
Use TV shows as racist terms because it's the 50s
Racist
or
terms.
whatever. It's fine. Like,
Yeah, because that's what we call vanilla or chocolate.
Yeah,
That's
it's
fine. It's fine.
It's the
not
50s or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. We're trying to transport him back through time, and even with all the racist stuff too. It's just like, jeez.
So Fox Force 5 pilot.
Yes.
Sound a little familiar to you guys?
No.
Deadliest girl with a knife
No.
on Earth.
Do you think he
Well-
had this in mind, or he came back to it?
I think he definitely did have it in mind. I think
it was probably just a little thing.
I think the thing is that him and Uma were like talking about it on this set.
and they're like, what if it was real?
It's like,
well, I
it
think
should be a
they
thing.
had already come up with the idea.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure. And
No
then
kidding.
like he wanted to do Jackie Brown before that.
Yep.
And yeah, and I mean, but it's pretty much the Deadly Viper Assassination Squad from Kill Bill.
It's
Do you like let's say that Tarantino decided to do Kill Bill in, I believe, what's Jackie Brown, 97?
Somewhere around there.
Like did Kill Bill in 97 rather than like 2000 or whatever. Like how do you feel it would have gone? Do you think it would have been really like, I feel like it could have been crazy different because Jackie Brown, they make Jackie Brown feel like an older movie. He does a great job of doing it that way, like making it feel like it's almost like a 70s flick. But how do you think Kill Bill would have been as good if it was 97?
I don't know. It definitely probably would have been great, but I don't know if it would have been as great
Yeah.
because
he needed that palate cleanser of Jackie Brown.
I think
almost.
so. Like I think it's
Everybody
like,
did,
almost
kind
like
of.
a movie that he needed to make, and I think he even says himself where he's like, "That's a movie I should have made when I was like my age now." Speaking like now, 2024. what is
Yeah.
it,
Oh, really?
2023? Yeah. Like that's like a later career movie in a director's career. It seems
Sure.
like, you know.
Yeah.
It seems like a little bit more polished, a little bit more mature. It's a love story, and then he fucking does a blood drenched Kill Bill. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh my gosh. This is the scene, and it's like when they get back in the chemistry.
Well, first,
sorry.
the dance.
I
mean,
d-
like,
we don't
we don't
I'm
have
sorry.
to talk much about it, but this dance, every time the perfect choice of the song, how good they are, their chemistry dancing to this. Like I'm enthralled every single time I watch them dance.
No, I want to dance. I want that trophy. Let's go. It's like, okay, and I feel like it sounded like Uma Thurman was like a little nervous because John Travolta is just like, renowned for obviously Grease and all
Yep.
that stuff, and
Saturday Night
Saturday Night
Fever.
Fever
Yeah.
and all the dance moves and stuff. And why is it so perfect in the way that they kind of come out here? And she's into it, obviously, and so is he to some degree. But it's the way he starts off. They both take off their shoes, and then it's like, you don't even know. All right.
No emotion.
Yeah, it's
No
like,
emotion.
If I'm about to lift something heavy, that's
All right,
what I
let's
do.
do it.
Yeah.
All right.
No, you never get down.
and they start. It's like all right, shut up and twist. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it was great. Like it's just such a and this is a scene like it shouldn't take this long. No, why would you linger on this scene for so long?
Because it's so good.
It is. It's so good for no reason because they linger on it so long to the point that they start rehashing dance moves.
Yeah.
And then it's like very involved, and then the camera pulls back, and it's just like a little bit more of an audience perspective, and it's like not boring, but it's like, okay, I see what they're kind of doing. I don't know. It's very interesting filmmaking.
It goes to pretty much the bridge of that Chuck Berry
Yeah.
song.
It's a long time.
Which is, like maybe 2.5 minutes into that song or something like that. This shouldn't work at all.
Nope.
This dance scene should like throw everyone off. And even like watching it nowadays, it should like I'm wondering what our executive producer thinks. Like, was it corny at all? Like, it could be corny to some people, but I really think their conversation before all this
Helps.
makes it earn it. Like, you are allowed to do this dance scene because that dialogue and that chemistry was so electrifying, and now we're getting a physical representation of it.
But now, and even then, now because of that, now you believe their chemistry being drunk and getting home now, and how he's concerned that he might do something.
Yeah.
Because you had to take these steps to get there properly to make, oh, well, these guys might actually really like each other. They might actually get along really well. Do you think like, had she not snorted the heroin and been unconscious, do you think she would have tried to keep him there? Do you think he would have successfully been able to leave? Do you think they would have?
It's this chance thing, man, is what I'm saying. Because even, like, I think I read something or heard something where you're supposed to store heroin in like a balloon, and he didn't have them. So he stored them in a plastic bag where you usually store cocaine.
Had he gotten it in a balloon,
she
should have probably known.
Wouldn't have made this mistake.
An experienced druggie might know, you know? And then, and that's the thing too, where it's like, if he wasn't in the bathroom for that long talking to himself, like maybe he would have gone out and she would have taken it out of the pocket when he's there.
Yes.
And he would be like, no, don't fuck with that. I don't know. It's cool. I mean, like, I have to say this too, because I really loved it around this time around. The way they get inside and music, drinks, and she goes to start to play the song. He's like, I'm going to take a piss. The way he looks at her after saying he needs to take a piss and she's spooling up the song, man, I've had those looks with women before where you're just like, holy shit, this is different.
It's now, it's like there's a moment now that it depends on what we do here.
Yeah, and like I know I'm not supposed to do this. There's that element to it too, but like there's the look that he gives where it's perfect. Because I don't know. Do you guys know what I'm saying?
100%.
It's just like you see that girl and you're just like, holy shit. Like my whole life is going to change now.
There's something different. Yeah. And, go ahead.
No, and that's why then it even means more now that she has overdosed. Yeah. And yes, he's a dead man if she dies.
Yeah.
But also I think he genuinely wants this girl to live.
Sure.
Like they really want to make this happen, you know?
There is something so dark yet funny about how it cuts back to him in the bathroom, and he's kind of had this conversation far enough in with himself already. Cuts to her, and she's kind of like finds the drugs. And it cuts back to him, and he's like, you see, this is a test of one's morality. And it's just like, get out of the bathroom,
it's like
man.
He's like he was almost finished with the conversation with himself at that point. But he's like, no, I got more to say to you.
Yeah, like it's like he's like he's really got to tell himself, you need to get out of here.
Go
like,
home, jerk off, and that's all you.
And that's all you're gonna do. And it's like he's like, you're gonna be polite, you're gonna have a drink, you're gonna leave, and he's like, you know what? If you have a drink, you're gonna get in trouble. Like this, it's going to lead to too
you know
much.
What, Mia, like I got to get going.
Hey, Mia, so I got to get going.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh no. And like that's his reaction is like, oh God, fuck, no.
And now I do agree with you. There is some of like the connection still there, but I think it's mostly like she's an object now.
Yeah.
Like, she is Marcellus's now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's got to protect it.
And this is where he shines, man. Like his aggression filled. He's like, get the shots.
Oh,
you know,
dude.
or even the fucking Black Max Marty, black fucking pen,
a felt tip pen,
fucking pen, Black Magic marker.
Lance, I'm a big fucking trouble man.
Lance,
what?
Lance,
fuck,
I'm a big fucking trouble man. It's like that conversation, like where he's like, I got a chick, she's ODing on me, and I'm bringing her to your house. He's like, what? No, don't bring her here.
No, you're not.
Well, then you bite the fucking bullet and you take her to a hospital and call a lawyer. It's nope, no can do.
And then he hears the car speed around the corner.
Are you calling me on a cellular phone? Who is this? I don't know you. Prank phone call.
Do you know you
and
want
that cut to him when he goes to the door, and all that's in one shot too. I know that there's some movie. It's like obviously he's probably not on the other phone, right? It doesn't matter because he gets off the phone, walks over, and then the car comes through. And it's like, man, that's good.
You know
it's
they
so
wanted
good.
John Cusack for Eric Stoltz?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been good, too.
I love Eric Stoltz in this, but I feel like John Cusack could have really been awesome in this.
Man, that's a rare occurrence that you could recast somebody in this.
If
you gave him the same kind of makeup, obviously, like the longer hair, it just John Cusack colored, and the facial hair, it could have been great.
I get him and John Travolta mixed up all the time, too. So
See,
like,
there you go.
that would have been really cool. But yeah, I mean, like, this is like probably the most iconic scene from the movie, right?
This is what you kind of think of. Most people think of when you think of this movie.
Just imagine seeing this for
That
the
and
first
Sam
fucking
Jackson.
time. Yeah.
I mean,
Imagine seeing this for the first time. You're like, well, we were having such a good time.
This was actually kind of a fun movie.
this was a lot of fun up until right about now.
Yeah.
That
And
you're seeing this massive needle come out.
Didn't you say they were nominated for sound design?
I don't think they were, but I'm just praising it.
Oh no, because like even these little moments, the thump of the needle,
Oh yeah.
dude, like that like based through my system, and just I mean that really drives home what is happening, and her waking up from that, and that wide shot of everybody on the ground just looking at her, and she's going, oh shit. I mean, like this scene's completely iconic.
It's
If
great.
you're okay, then say something. Something. Like
and then it's
the
scene's gone.
The melting away of the anxiety from that shot when she is up and finally like awake and coherent again, and like Travolta's just on the ground, like it's like the sigh of relief. If I was in a theater, like everyone would, you would be able to hear that resounding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
And they didn't have to do the go back to the house.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there are some things they could have cut, but I also don't want them to, because I do like this final moment of like the hey.
Because
Goodbye.
Because like
Yeah.
what I said before, like she's just kind of an object now. Like he has to save her, or else he's gonna fucking get killed. You know, there's that aspect to it. But then like once everything's kind of okay and they have that agreement, she's like, "Do you want to hear my joke?" And so it's back now. And
Yeah.
so like
he loves her again.
yeah. And so there's we had a connection before all this, but like it's totally done now.
And she
like
Uma Thurman looks gorgeous as a person who just OD'd on
on
heroin. You're like, I love you. I mean, if you still
kinda
want to
not
go
fair.
inside, if you still want to go inside, like,
you want to
Yeah.
have that drink.
Yeah, how about that drink?
Uma Thurman, and we don't talk enough about her because she's kind of done in this movie, but no one else could have been Mia Wallace.
Again, it's like a character. Like she chews the hell out of this character, and it's fucking fantastic. That hair, I have no idea where that comes from, but that is, I mean,
That's what I thought Uma Thurman looked like.
yeah.
I know. So did I.
And then she's Kill Bill. I'm like, what's up with the blonde wig?
yeah, I know.
Weird.
Dude,
Not into
I'm
blondes.
not into blondes right now. Someday I may be.
dude, I think it's almost like the hair is like a part of the joke in this
Yeah.
movie, man. Like seriously, the hair should not work in this movie. Like for most of these main characters, it just shouldn't work. And then you're just, for whatever reason, you just get over it very quickly. Yeah, Uma Thurman just has this like, it's almost like it's like a sweet ignorance to her character, but but she's a grown up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't know. It's tough to explain.
Yeah.
I really do like it. And like I say, it's that one moment though too that I think when they do shake hands at the end, and that's what she described as why Marcellus threw Rocky out the window, and it's kind of like, is it like a death kiss almost? You know what
like
I
how
mean?
he kind of holds his heart. He's like,
Yeah.
I would love to hear the joke.
Yeah.
Yep.
One less thing. I know we're only on fucking scene 2. You can take this out, but
No.
like speaking of the sound design, one thing I was gonna say while they're in Jack Rabbit Slims and they get sat down and they're talking and everything, the background track is a little higher than everything else, and then I think he asks about her pilot, and she's like, it's called Fox Force 5. What? Her track gets a little higher. Because it's like
Because she talks louder?
I don't know. I think it's because he's kind of coming off of his high now, and so he's like now he's engaged because he wasn't before. He was just like, I'm just gonna take this chick out. I'm gonna eat my steak. I'm gonna fucking go home.
Now he's actually
but now he's interested in her, and like the audio heightens up a little bit on her track a little bit. I don't know. It was really cool that noticing that the last time. But sorry,
I don't know if it's worth $5. There's a pretty good fucking shake.
pretty good fucking shake.
You don't put bourbon in it or nothing?
no.
No. Stupid shit.
Everyone, the guy at every table is like, do you have a bourbon in there? God, no.
$5.
Read the fucking thing. All right, so scene 3. Before the boxing match, Butch remembers how he obtained his father's gold watch when he was 5 years old. Butch wins the fight after betting bribe money, and he escapes the ring using a cab ride. He prepares to flee with his girlfriend Fabienne, but discovers she's forgotten to pack the gold watch. Returning to his apartment to retrieve it, he catches Vincent off guard and kills him. Go ahead.
I mean, True Romance in this movie is, I don't know why he hasn't been in another Tarantino movie other than, I guess, these 2 scripts anyway. He's very good at telling his dialogue, obviously. How is he not in other movies of Tarantino's is what I want to know.
You're talking about Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
I carried this uncomfortable hunk of metal over my ass for 2 years. He'd be damned. It's your birthright. He'd be damned. Those greasy bastards would get their hands on your birthright.
He doesn't fail even being Christopher Walken. Like it's so good. Like the pause.
Yes.
Yeah. He's like, and now I give the watch to you. It's.
I think it's the greatest
fucking
monologue
incredible.
in the history of cinema.
The pause shouldn't have happened. The pause was a mistake.
Oh, it was.
It was
Yeah,
a mistake.
he kind of forgot his line or
he
something.
Stumbled
didn't he?
on it. He missed. He kind of forgot his line, and then he paused almost like for dramatic effect, and they kept going, and then he picked it right back
Dude,
up.
because that's fucking wild. Because in that moment, I can see in his eyes the whole thing replaying in his mind, like the whole Hanoi Hell thing.
Yeah.
Like that is fucking crazy.
So did you hear the theory
Give me the watch.
that actually Captain Coons is actually Butch's father? There's a thought that there was not that this was some sort of affair, or like, you know, that she had she was dating Captain Coons, then he went off to war, and that they basically made up the story of him having a dad that died because they just were not going to be together, his mom and Captain Coons. Because think about, he says, I heard a lot about you. Well, like, when did you hear a lot about him? Because Butch is 5, his dad died 5 years ago. So like, what has he heard about Butch in the time from then till now? The mom is hearing this story for the first time, and she's just like, like, yeah, your father died in a terrible way. Because there was no father. He knows a lot about the fine details of the watch. He couldn't have like gained that information from the dad and held on to that and remembered everything for 5 years. They were in a prison. They couldn't talk.
Yeah,
in
it's
prison.
like a collective 7 years.
Yeah, it's
technically,
like 7 total years.
because 5 years he carried it in his ass, and then when he died of dysentery.
There's a lot more to that, but if you think about it, like, this is actually, and then maybe there's the thought that he actually finds this out later. He says, my dad went through a lot to get this watch to me. At the end, he says that. So maybe they finally come clean, and Captain Coons is like, actually, I am your dad. Like, you were too young to figure that out, so I just wanted to tell you about your made up dad, but I am. Because my dad went through a lot to get me that watch.
Right.
Kind of an interesting thought.
Yeah.
See, and he talks about it too, which obviously comes up later in the scene. There's something that happens between 2 men when they share, in the bonds that they share, when they're in the confines like this for so long, that he just goes on, and then we'll continue on with the scene. I'll just leave it at that.
Too, like when he's like, and now, little man, I give the watch to you, and the kid's just like, okay.
Did you clean it?
The butt watch.
The first thing after this whole thing, literally after it just goes to ding. After that is my wife said, who wants a butt watch?
Which is what we all thought the first time we saw this movie.
And she's like, would you want a butt watch? I was like, whose butt is it? Your butt? No.
It depends on his butt, said Bennett.
But this watch scene is so goddamn important, because not only is it one of the best monologues in history, and it's such a funny, weird story.
Strange story.
If we don't get this story about the watch, none of the rest of the stuff happens, because that watch has to be important. It has to be so important that he's willing to risk his life for it.
Yeah.
Because if that's anything else, like, I'm like, Molly, we got to bug out of town. She's like, oh, I left your whoop at home. I was like, cool.
That's
I
fine.
wanted you to bring it because I like the data that it gives me, but like, I'll get another one.
Yeah.
Right.
He has to go back to get this watch. And it sets up the whole rest of this. Nothing else happens without this. He leaves town and they're done.
Right. 4th generation like watch in his possession. He wants this watch.
They're out.
And it's that moment of I don't want to skip ahead, I guess, too much on it, but it's like it is that moment that he realizes, like, where's my watch? No, all this other shit doesn't matter. Where's my watch?
Yeah.
You know, and that fit he ends up like going through is I think it's kind of peak Bruce Willis in this.
Yeah.
But before we get there, obviously this is before the fight, or we have the fight that happened, and the cab ride, the background of the cab. Again, guys, this is talk about pulp fiction, rough around the edges, like filmmaking, rough paper, whatever you want to call it. That background of that cab is peak, and for some reason I love it. It's not even that I don't care, it's that I love that it's that way.
It's almost every other scene in this movie is like just real, like the car's on a trailer,
Yeah.
But this was all shot on a studio. Obviously, it's the rear projection.
Yeah.
Purposely bad.
Yeah, well, I
projection.
mean, like it's like maybe not even bad, but just like a choice to just be like, well, this is fantasy.
And it's kind
Doesn't it make it feel like noir almost? Like it makes it feel like, ooh.
It is a noir thing.
Yeah,
It's like a noir story. Like this is, where MacGuffin comes from. The gold watch is a MacGuffin. The fucking briefcase is a MacGuffin,
Yeah.
It's taking everything from all that kind of shit. Yeah.
And it just makes it, again, I take it back to, it seems like a story being told. It's like a recollection type of a story being told is the way it makes it feel to me, or like comic booky and kind of, fantastical.
If I am getting rid of anything in this movie, though, I feel like this is where the movie takes a slow turn. The cab ride for me is kind of like, sort of like I always feel kind of weird. Like, why? Why is this girl here? And like, why is she all fascinated with the death? And
what's it like to kill
what's
a
it
man?
like to kill a man?
Hey, what's it like to? Will you leave me the fuck alone?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, when I requested this Uber, I said, please, no conversation, and I wanted it to be cooler in here, too. I got
But
it.
you are letting me smoke, so that's pretty cool.
It's like, and I'm not wearing a mask. It's one of those things like, please stop talking to me. Like, I don't get what the value of this cab conversation brings.
We do learn a little bit more about Bruce. We get to know him a little bit better.
Okay.
He gets to explain some things, but I feel like then we also get into that with Fabian too. Like
you learn he killed Floyd, and so there's like, even if maybe he didn't kill him, even if he did rip Marcellus off, he's going to kill Butch because he killed one of his guys.
yes,
Yeah,
So there is that.
That has to be, because obviously we see Marcellus is in Floyd's dressing room, and that's like what he ended up doing, and so he must have had a connection to Marcellus. Yeah,
And then we get to understand that he took the bribe money and then threw it a bet on himself, like on like 8 different bookies or something like that. So he's got to have some major money coming his way.
and he leaked the fix.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it. Yeah, that's right. That's right. In the
Somehow
phone booth.
the fix was leaked. Then he made the odds change. Then bet on himself.
Yes.
Do we like Fabian? Do we like this whole scene with her?
I like them together. Yeah, I do. I used to not at all.
I
but,
agree with you.
I do like their conversation. It's really like kind of sweet, and it's like young love. It's like they just kind of got together maybe a few months earlier.
Do they allude to the fact that she's like not a hooker, but like a stripper or something like that? Like, I feel like at some point he like in one of his like rants, he just ends up saying something like that.
I don't think so.
No? Okay. I felt like there was something in there, and like he's kind of infatuated with this girl, and that's the way it does seem. It seems like a very new love and relationship.
He's clearly has some feelings for her, because I love the way they play out that fight, because this is real world fighting when you care about somebody,
Yes.
where you get so mad because of how important this was and how fucking stupid you are to forget that. But I really need to apologize. I love you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But then he loves her, but he's now cold to her. He's like, here's some money. Go get breakfast. I'll be
Have
back.
fun with your fucking breakfast. Yeah.
Because I have to go do this. He knows that there's a 90% chance he's going to die now.
Yeah.
But then
as
he
soon
gets
as
back.
he is alone, he's like,
Motherfucking son of a. That's when I think it happens that he makes mention of her whatever her prior work was. I don't know. Anyways, I'll listen back. But anyways, yeah, motherfucker.
It's just the most accurate depiction
Yes.
of a fight with a loved one that I've
yeah.
ever seen.
I'm going for a fucking drive.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go for a drive.
I
I'm sorry.
As soon as I get in the garage,
God damn it! fucking watch. What thing?
Okay, so but seriously though, like that is really fucked up. She forgot to watch. But if it's that fucking important,
Yes.
bring it with you to the goddamn
Yeah.
fight.
Maybe tell her the story.
Yeah, tell her,
Yeah.
Or
tell
tell
her
her
the story.
and this is how important
Tell
it
her
is.
the story. If you're gonna bestow the responsibility onto somebody else, then
Why weren't
go
you
through
wearing
this.
it to your fight and then you take it off and you
Put it in your bag.
There's it.
Weird.
Yeah, super strange. I know.
It needed to happen though because I
I was
fucking love this
even
so
gonna
much.
say maybe punchable face Fabian because of this, but I'm like, it's not totally her fault at all. No, no.
I think it is.
Oh, you want to do it?
I think it's worth just even her haircut.
If we were on a train to go punch a face,
I want a
I'm
puck.
on board.
You want some? You're looking in the mirror and you say you want some pot. I'm sorry, I'm so CTE.
I'm
now.
sorry. I'm pretty punchy.
You're punching her just because of her haircut.
I think it's because of
Yep.
her haircut and the way that she says describes her breakfast. I think that's another thing.
Blueberry pie with a thin slice of cheese on it.
Yeah.
That's gross.
I think, you know what? Don't ever describe that to me again.
All right. You got a
Punchable
punchable face. It's tough in
face.
this one.
I guess Maynard.
Maynard, yeah.
Maynard. Yeah, Maynard was Zed.
Zed. It's Maynard.
Maynard.
Yeah. That's all I can think of.
I'm punching the dude on the couch from earlier. The one that's like, no, chill, man, it's cool.
Flock of seagulls?
Flock
Yeah,
of
flock
seagulls?
of seagulls. I'm punching flock of seagulls for sure.
No, the one by your knees.
One by your knees. You have a cold? Like what?
This very much though is like one of the coolest moments though is when he goes back to the apartment.
Yeah. And you can hear too like all of like the radio chatter and stuff. That's super cool. It's just super immersive, but
Reminds
also
me
like
of a video game.
yeah, exactly. It's very intense. Like I remember when I first saw this movie, I'm like, fuck, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna be there? You know? And then he gets up there and
Well, so I always wondered like how did like the toaster and the Pop-Tarts not wake up or like alert Vincent in the bathroom?
My thing is, I think because later in this next scene, he does run into Marcellus
Yeah.
and he's getting coffee and donuts. I think that him and Vincent are like having a day.
100%.
Yeah.
Go like
He
they're there
thought it was
together.
Marcellus
Yes.
coming back.
Yeah, and so he thinks he's just Marcellus reading his fucking whatever French novel he's got. And he's like, oh, I guess he's just rummaging through shit out there. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna
Yeah,
finish my shit.
like you say, like after this whole thing, you know, hey, you took care of me. I really appreciate it and stuff. And hey,
And Jules left. Jules doesn't work here anymore.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you need a partner real quick.
and
This is pretty personal to him.
Yeah.
very personal. So
I'll
he's,
come. I want to finish the job.
Yeah.
I'm bringing this big ass gun.
why else would he be walking through this neighborhood when we see where he lives?
Yep.
You know.
I think that's a fantastic way to look at it.
And we there's a big thing about how reckless Vincent is with firearms too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that even though this is more than likely probably Marcellus's gun.
Yeah,
if that's
100%,
in
'cause
that theory,
Marcellus
then, right?
couldn't take it with him. It's too big.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So he had to just leave it
He's
on the
not going
counter.
down to Duncan with a Mac
Yes.
10 super silenced.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing too of like if he shows up 10 minutes earlier,
Yep.
10 minutes later, he's a dead man.
Yep.
But it just so happened to be when Marcellus was gone and while he was taking a
Yeah.
constipated heroin shit.
Yes.
The perfect chance encounter. It's,
Boom.
It's crazy. Like all through this movie, this is what happens. But I like to think too, like what the conversation was while they're just like hanging out in Butch's
Yes.
apartment, just like, all right, dog, you want coffee?
How about some donuts, bro?
You want coffee? I think I'm gonna get some coffee and
We're going to
donuts.
grab some donuts.
I'm gonna leave my gun, just in case he comes back. I'm just leaving it on this counter right here.
Yo, Marcellus, you can't take the gun with you.
Well, I wasn't planning on it. You know what? You're right. I'll put it down right now. I'll put it down.
All right.
Would you want glazed? Will you sprinkles?
Bavarian cream. Holland.
Get it. I get it. I get it.
You're still in Amsterdam time, aren't you?
It's like, well, whatever. I'm gonna go take a shit. Can I get prop?
Yeah, you want prop?
Prop.
Ooh, here's a prop.
I want the book that Vincent is reading in the bathroom every time.
Because you wanted to see what the hubbub is about
Yeah,
it.
like why is he spending so much time reading this book and getting literally everyone, including himself, into serious trouble?
Yep.
I want to know.
What do you want, buddy? I mean, I want the ceramic kangaroo
Good call.
that
Oh,
holds
of
the
course.
watch. I mean, like I want that on a
You want the
shelf.
wall?
Nobody
the
wants the
watch
poop
with
watch.
it?
No poop watch. I want just the kangaroo.
I mean, the watch would be the one.
That's the one.
The way to go.
What about the the USC Santa Cruz banana slugs T-shirt?
Yeah,
I think
that's a
you
good
could wear
one.
that pretty
What
well.
about,
That's a good one.
what about the samurai sword?
That's a good one too.
What about the chainsaw?
That's a good one.
What about the axe? What about? Sorry,
I'm gonna go watch.
you're going watch.
Yeah,
All right,
I
then,
mean,
then
it's-
we can put our props together.
Yeah, there we go.
Cool, man.
Nice.
Yeah, teamwork.
Well, let's move on to scene 4. So when Marcellus spots Bush stopped at a traffic light, they fight in the street and fall into a pawn shop where they're knocked unconscious by the owner. Now gagged and with a man named Zed and a gimp in the room, Marcellus is taken into another room and abused. Butch escapes but decides to return to save Marcellus, who gratefully lets Butch leave with Fabian, never to return. Before he sees Marcellus, I think this is my favorite moment of the movie when Bruce Willis gets in the car and realizes he's free.
He's home free.
And he does that smile and he turns and goes, nah, and he just drives away in that shitty little car. I've rewound that multiple times at how happy
Yeah.
Butch is to have actually pulled that out. He thought he was going to die. He thought there's no chance he actually pulls this off. He's going to do it.
You got to think like this guy is a like now a double murderer.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and this is a crazy thing to like thinking about sequencing and whatnot and having these stories out of sync, really all happening in the time frame of a couple of days. Like, you know, we talk about this. Vincent has been in every single one. Technically, by the end of this, in the actual chronological timeline, Vincent is killed and he's dead. And it's kind of sad to think about. Like, it would be a hard way to finish this movie.
This would have been the final scene, them riding off on the motorcycle.
Right.
Or, like eventually would have been
That's
the final
pretty
scene,
much
right?
the end of the story.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it's such a strange thing. But him doing that to Vincent, and then we're just like, oh my gosh. And then he's like, huh. And he gets in his car and he's just kind of stoked about
Yeah.
I
it.
keyed his car, now I killed him. It's
Yeah.
fucking great day.
And it's like it's casting too, right? Because everyone loves John Travolta, everyone loves Bruce Willis at this point
Yeah.
too, where it's just like, oh fuck, John Travolta's gone out of the movie. Like
Don't-
they're
Yeah.
not seeing.
Don't
it
worry,
yet.
we'll palette that, cleanse that palette right now. Because
Yeah.
we're going to throw some real fucked up shit your way.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Don't worry. You'll forget all about, and I think you do forget about Vincent at this point because
Oh,
of
you do.
what happens
Yeah,
now.
definitely.
That's
a good point.
This whole thing, man, like this used to really fuck me up. This
Yeah.
whole scene because first of all, like thinking about this
The
gimp
is
locked
a weird
in the box,
thing.
like permanently locked in this box to where this gimp is just whatever.
Yep.
And like the fact that it's all happening behind them and they don't know what the fuck's going on behind them. They're hearing locks opening and boxes opening and then chains rattling. They're like, fuck. And then even fucking Zed, like he's purposely changing his little counting game.
Yeah.
Because he's made up his mind who he wants to fuck.
Yeah.
In the middle of this game.
God, yeah. He because that's the whole thing about that any mini miny mo. You can manipulate it to how you
We
want
used
it to
do
go.
it all the time. It depended on the one you started on.
Yeah, it depends on that. And if you land on the
You
one
are
that
not
you
it or
and
it.
you are not it, or it's like, and then you can say, and
He just goes, and
my
you are
mother told
it.
me to pick the very best one, and because you can kind of continue it on.
Yes. I hated it.
Not, and then
The camera shifts to him a little
shifts
bit.
over.
I love it.
Main spider caught a couple of flies.
Did you read that they're supposed to be brothers in the screenplay? Zed and Maynard?
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, petition right now to go back in time and cast Patrick Labateau as Maynard.
I like that.
Yeah, I think they would make a.
Nah, he's not hateable enough. Like,
I want to see him in a gritty role.
see, he
though.
could do it. He could do
Well,
it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I like him more as the like, yeah, whatever.
yeah,
I think those two. I think those two would be a pretty good like brother combo.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they would.
the guy from The Mask and
Yes.
Patrick Labateau.
That guy
Yeah.
plays such a hateable guy
Yeah.
in every role he's in.
Or what about like what can we get a brothers movie of Zed and him and then like
Zed
Peter
Maynard?
Peter Weller will be the other
Dude,
guy?
yes,
How about that? They'll be twins.
I got confused.
Yeah.
Like, I
A
was
little
like,
bit,
wait,
yeah.
in some moments, he looks like Peter Weller. I love when he's got the gimp right there. He's like tapping on his head.
Ugh.
It's so fucking fucked up.
It's so messed.
What is
dude.
the gimp supposed to do? Like this doesn't make sense that they're like he's like watch this guy.
I think it's their friend that they just like because he says Russell's old room.
Yeah.
Let's go do him in there. Is that Russell?
Russell's
One,
old room.
if it is, they just fucked him so much where he's just like brainwashed, full of fuck.
And he's just there to intimidate Bush. Like he's in there to intimidate Butch.
Yeah,
And
like,
just make him scared of what's happening.
I think they just deprived him of all humanity. Like literally, like we have to imagine that because he's like all dressed in that thing, obviously, and he's also kind of like laughing and toying with Butch.
Yeah.
It's like
There's some sort of make or mention. I don't know if it was in the actual script or if this was a later commentary, and I think it was from Tarantino himself, but that he pretty much just said like, yeah, he likes to think it was like a hitchhiker or somebody that like got picked up by Maynard and or Zed, and then they pretty much tortured him into the point of like full submission.
Yeah.
Like,
Very toolbox murders-esque.
yeah,
Yeah.
like just very strange situation.
Are you guys going back to help?
Yeah, when I first watched this movie, I remember the moment I was watching it with my friend Jordan. Sponsor us, Jordan.
I think he is.
I was watching.
Thanks,
it
dude. Thank
with
you.
Jordan, and we both were like, "Go back!" Like talking at the screen, like, "Go back."
This
and
guy
then when
wants-
he turns around, I'm like, "Oh yes."
But this guy wants to kill you on multiple accounts.
Yeah.
He's the most powerful man you know, and he hates your guts. And you now have bad information about him. Like it's you if you have to try to think about it realistically, like he could have just left.
it could have been scot-free, probably.
Yeah, and this goes back to the beginning and hearing the story. It's like there's a bond that happens between two men in this captivity where you kind of owe it to each other to take on certain responsibilities.
Thank you, because he gets told the whole story about his dad,
Yep.
Yeah.
and now he's kind of going through the same thing.
Samurai sword too.
Samurai
Honor.
sword, dude.
Been
this
watching
is-
a lot of Shogun lately, guys.
There
and
you go.
Samurai's all about honor.
You heard
Okay.
about that earlier this week on our What Are We Watching
You
episode.
bet.
I almost like thinking to myself, I don't know if this is a fan theory anywhere that you have, but if the watch is cursed, because
Ooh.
what if the watch like needs trauma, and like you haven't like Butch hasn't earned it yet, even though he's a fighter, he's fighting. But what if it's like this weird like trauma machine where trauma MacGuffin even where you just the handler of it, the owner of it needs to go through some sort of fucked up experience like this. And so this is happening to him now. He like it's chance he walked into this pawn shop and no other shop or no other door
At
that
this
was
time,
open. Yeah.
no one else was in there.
Exactly. I don't know. It's kind of
love
fun to
it.
think about.
I think
fucking love that.
I think this watch is just it's addicted to ass trauma. You're right.
Oh my god! Get out of here, man.
I need to be in an ass. I need to see some
I need to
ass.
see some ass. I need to just experience. You know.
Hey Zed, can you shove me
Yeah.
in there?
Hey, when's my turn? That's the watch, not Maynard.
Do you also kind of like to think that like when Fabian forgot the watch, like she's like secretly being like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. I did forget, but I was kind of thinking like maybe it was time to let that go.
Maybe.
You know, like
Yes.
maybe you don't need an ass watch
Maybe-
anymore.
I was kind of thinking about it, and I realized like I didn't really want to touch the ass watch.
You told that story to my parents last week when they
Yeah.
were visiting for dinner, and they were really weirded
The
out by
first time
that.
you met him,
Yeah.
it's just like
That's the first thing you told my dad. He
Yeah.
said you have a watch that was in my dad's ass.
I feel like all I can think about is every time we meet somebody new, you tell this story about this ass watch and how it got to you, and I'm kind of tired of hearing about
Ass
it.
watch, yeah.
If anything. And-
listen, I think it's time.
no,
I think it's time to let it go, honey.
I'm pretty fucking far from okay.
I love his
Step
line.
aside, Butch.
This pumps me up more than anything.
Yeah.
Knowing what's gonna happen to Zed.
Yeah.
But like still not being able to see
You
it.
hear
like,
me, hillbilly boy? I ain't through with you by damn
But
sight.
damn sight.
and like
so good.
he's like, you best be getting on your way.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
door closes. Well, you notice too, Bruce Willis understands that he went back to save him, but he's not fully out of danger.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
he doesn't know what Marcellus is going to do at this point, so he's still got his sword
Yeah.
in like attack position.
Yeah.
Oh, that what,
What?
now?
Yeah. What now? And then he's like, as far as that, there is no me and you. And then he like lowers the sword.
You
at that
lost all
point.
your LA privileges.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine with me. I was leaving anyway.
Yeah.
I want a sequel where we get to see what Marcellus and his boys do to this guy.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, yeah. Like,
Pair of pliers and a blowtorch.
yeah,
Get medieval on your ass. What a badass.
It's so cool. It's great.
yeah. It's a pretty solid redemption.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to the final scene. So flashing back to Vincent and Jules in the apartment, another man jumps out and tries to kill them. He's killed by the two hitmen. The informant Marvin is taken with him, but accidentally shot in the car. They hide the car at the home of Jules' friend Jimmy, while Mr. Wolf helps him clean up the situation. At a diner afterwards, Jules tells Vincent his plans to leave the lifestyle, just as the couple from the beginning begin their dinner heist. Jules saves the day by defusing the situation. They both leave the diner.
What happened here was a fucking miracle, and I want you to fucking acknowledge it.
Okay, I acknowledge.
What's
All
divine
right.
intervention? You mean like God came down and stopped the bullets? That's exactly what I meant.
Yeah. This is see the size of that thing? It was bigger than him.
Goddamn hand cannon.
Did you just forget to tell us that there was somebody hiding in the bathroom with a goddamn hand cannon?
Alexis Arquette in this, like it's crazy to see her in this. How do you say it?
Yeah.
And her as a man now,
Yeah.
but like I think she's great.
Yeah.
Like cutting back to this perspective, also to get us back into a scene that we've already seen.
Yeah.
It's really cool, and I think it's like just super fucking funny.
Well, it's interesting to call it
Unloading
a
6 bullets and just none of them
hit
hit.
nothing. And this is another scene that my brother had described to me in detail, and it was that moment of them after it just comes out shooting and just die, and nothing, and they just look at each other. And they like I remember as vividly like him telling it to me as I do like remember watching the scene now, and it's such an interesting thing. And the bullets behind Jules, the bullet holes behind Jules is like it's kind of a point of contention for viewers.
Yeah.
Because some people are saying they were already there and some people are saying that they weren't. And
They were and they weren't.
They
Yeah.
definitely were. Yeah.
Early on, they weren't, and then before the shot, they were
Before he came out, they were there.
there. Yes.
okay. And
Which
so
then says that they were just blanks in the gun. Maybe the bullets were
Yeah.
already there. I don't know.
That's
I think
gotta
it was a
be-
mistake.
That's got to be just a mistake.
It has to be. Yeah.
should have fucking shotguns.
Do you think Vincent killed Marvin on purpose?
I don't think so. I think he's just reckless with firearms, man. He doesn't put the safeties on. He just puts it into his
He's got
pants.
his finger on the trigger.
He's got his
all the
finger on
time.
the trigger
He's
all
kind
the
of
time.
an oopsie poopsie through this whole
He
movie.
kind of is,
Literally
man.
poopsie.
Dude.
Well, I mean, Vincent is 100% not a good hitman. I mean, he sucks at his job. Everything, like, it tends to be kind of his fault, right? Something bad happens every time Vincent goes to the fucking bathroom.
Yeah.
Something bad happens. There's a thought out there that Marcellus doesn't really he likes him a lot. That's why he sent him to Amsterdam. He's like, you're not good. You're addicted to heroin, but I like you. I like your crazy fucking brother Vic Vega's gonna kill me if I
Yeah.
don't give you this job. So they send him to Amsterdam. He comes back, but Marcellus keeps giving him jobs that are not hard. But he keeps fucking him up. So job one, all he has to do is go with Jules, who's a completely confident hitman, and like all he has to do is kill these 3 men. Instead, he fucks it up, and Jules does all the work. He ends up killing Marvin on accident.
Yeah.
Job 2, all he has to do is take his wife to dinner while he's out of town. He just has to drive her to dinner and babysit her. Like he gets her, she almost dies. Job 3, all he has to do is wait in Butch's apartment just in case he shows up, which he's not going to because he's not an idiot. So there's no way Butch is coming back. So
Right.
just chill out in this apartment just in case.
Whatever.
It's
he
almost
happens to come back and he gets himself killed. Can we get like a recut of it's like a Looney Tunes recut of Vincent and it's just got cartoon sound effects to everything that's going on?
I know what's happening.
It's almost like Ryan Gosling in The Nice Guys.
Oh
Like,
my
he just
gosh,
can't
dude,
do
thank
anything
you.
right, but he's like it's also like not a lot of it's his fault. Bad shit just happens around this guy,
And then
it's not his fault at all. But like with Vincent, it's like even like going to the bathroom, like I'm gonna go take a shit. The place gets fucking held up, you know.
Yeah,
Every
like,
time he's on
exactly.
the toilet.
I almost
he's in
feel
the
bad for him.
He's in the bathroom when Mia overdoses. He's in the bathroom when the place gets shot up. He's
Yep.
in the bathroom when Butch comes
When
in.
Butch comes back, he's reading that book. It's like he literally like if he would just stop doing heroin, he'd stop being constipated, and
That's
then
exactly.
and he'd stay out of the bathroom. And even then, it's like, dude, you need to chill out. Like, and Obviously, it's a little bit different bathroom situation, but it's just like, God damn, man! It's like, what are you doing to his towels? it's like, what? I'm trying to use soap, but it's just this stuff's hard to get off. He's like, he had lava. It's like, I use the same soap you did.
Fucking. Just the line, oh man, I shot Marvin in the face. Nonchalant, just nothing kind of.
And that's the vibe of
add a laugh track behind that, right?
That's the thought that maybe he did it on purpose though, is because like Marvin did seriously almost fuck them up by not telling them that there was a guy.
Yeah, and
he looked legitimately really sad that those guys got killed,
like traumatized.
And like Vincent goes right over. He's like, "When were you gonna tell me there was a guy?" You know, like. Yeah. I don't know. I think almost Vincent's like, fuck this guy. Like, I'm going to pretend like oops. Possible. You know, like, because, yeah.
I mean, do you really think there's like act of God that he came down, boom? Oh, man, I shot Marvin in the face.
Dude, when he's on the phone with Jimmy, there's just like brains hanging from his face.
I know.
Gross. That's my prop. I want the brains.
The brains from
I want Marvin's brains.
So good.
With hair attached to it.
So what do you guys... Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, like, it's this moment, like, when they get to Jimmy, he's like, this is some gourmet. Instant coffee. He's like, cut the crap, Jules. Okay? He's like, have you guys seen the SpongeBob cut of this?
No.
They have a cut of SpongeBob as Jimmy, and then you have Squidward and Patrick as Jules, and it's like, they basically line it up perfectly. That SpongeBob is like, he's like, cut the crap, okay? I know how good the fucking coffee is.
He goes to the store to buy shit.
He's like, should buy shit, okay? I'm with the good stuff. He's like, but the concern isn't the fucking coffee in my cup right now. It's the dead guy in my garage. It's just like, hey, man, don't even worry. Don't tell me to go out, Jules, okay?
I love how much power he has over them. Like, he must have some major power in this whole thing.
It's really funny, too. Like, just to be like, your morning interrupted by a dead guy arriving.
This is like 8 a.m., something like that, 8:30.
Yeah, it's really early.
And like disrupting this, and it makes me think because Jules said it's somebody that he has worked with.
Yeah,
and so it makes you think.
My partner in Toluca Lake.
Yeah, a partner in Toluca Lake, and so he's got to be.
He's connected.
He's connected in this, right? So it's just.
He says the wolf says your uncle Marcellus.
Your uncle Marcellus. So it's like, but that's the thing is like it seems like he doesn't know Marcellus,
right?
So it's a strange thing. I don't know.
It's fantastic though. Like as much as I want to hate Tarantino's acting so much, like I can't.
Yeah.
It's so Tarantino, and it's just so like awesome. Thank you for doing this awesome role.
Yeah,
I think
because no one else probably would have done that.
Like
role.
The only thing that ages is the N-word stuff, and it's just what Tarantino is. Like it's hard to like see him do it because everyone hates him for doing it so much, you know.
Yeah.
And so
but he's the only one. He's like, I'm not going to tell anybody else to do this, so I'm just going to do it.
Yeah. It is kind of one of those things, like not directing somebody to do what you wouldn't do yourself. So it is kind of in that same vein of mentality, but at the same time too, I think he does pick very good like characters and cameos for himself in a lot of his movies that tend to play out very, very well. Same thing as Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown, in Reservoir Dogs. And I think he picks out these good dialogue moments but they aren't show stealers for somebody else to be able to play that role.
Yeah.
Because I think he was actually debating on playing Lance too. Yeah. But he was like, I want to be able to direct these types of scenes, And so I think he does that very well. And his interactions, especially you get another great feature of Harvey Keitel coming through. You're 30 minutes away. I'll be there in 10. There's just something so wonderful about these characters that just drop on by.
I love how he just takes control of this whole situation. Now you got a body in the car in the garage. Take me to it.
He's taking the notes on the phone. Jules, black. Vincent, white.
Body minus head.
Yeah. He's like Jimmy. I smelled some delicious coffee in there. He's like, would you mind getting me a cup? Oh, sure. How do you take it? Lots of coffee or lots of sugar, lots of cream. It's like, okay. He comes back. And like the little like notice of like
just a head nod.
So anyways.
Dude, and like too, where he's arguing with Marcellus to send someone to help them out.
Yeah.
It seems like him and Marcellus like have this good history, like they are real good friends.
Very mutual understanding.
But then he's like, well, I'm gonna send the wolf. He's like, You saying,
Damn.
You saying the wolf?
Go back in there, chill those guys
Shit,
out.
yeah, my guy.
and
That's
wait
all
for
you
the-
had to say.
And wait for the wolf to arrive.
It's like the words, just the wolf. Is just like, you almost didn't even need to see Harvey Keitel as the wolf do anything. Just hearing
Knowing that someone named the wolf is coming.
and that Jules is taken aback by like, oh shit, we're fine.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great kind of cap off to this, you know, this horrible scenario that this predicament that they're in. I don't know, man. I watching them take the car down, and then who's this girl that plays his girlfriend or whatever? Like, there's like a
she's
comedian.
Saturday Night
there.
Live. It's oh, come on.
I know. Like I
Raquel is her name.
Yeah,
she plays.
Raquel.
She's the It's Pat girl on
Oh
Saturday
my
Night Live.
gosh,
She's
that's
in a
right.
ton of Saturday Night Live movies. Hold
Yes.
on, God damn it!
I know.
People are yelling at us right now.
I shouldn't have asked. Shouldn't have even brought it up.
I wasn't even going to talk about her, so that's why I didn't write her name down.
What's her name?
Julia
The-
Sweeney.
Julia Sweeney.
The
Come on.
redhead girl too, who's at the Marcellus scene when they crash or whatever. What's her damn name?
Kathy Griffin.
Yeah, Kathy Griffin.
Well, it's because he used to go to the Comedy Store all the fucking. Well, he still does probably. He goes to the Comedy Store all the time to see all those comedians, and he's just like, "Got to be in my movie."
That's amazing.
Yeah. I love these scenes. I love the interactions. I love how Vincent just still can't get over himself at this point. And I like that they finally basically end up in these ridiculous clothes and they make it to the diner.
But that's what's so genius. I want to talk shit about like, well, dude, you don't need the out of order. Just make the movie the order it is. But the more I think about it, ending on this diner scene, and Vincent's still alive, and like they're good, and Jules had his moment, and, like they're still buddies, and they're gonna leave together. Like, I almost love that it ends on this more than if they would have ended on him on the motorcycle.
Yeah, because it's hard to consider this like a flashback. I know that I think
It doesn't feel like
they
it.
even consider it like a flashback almost in kind of the scene scripting scenarios, but it doesn't feel like
Nope.
it. Like and if
It feels like the beginning of the movie was like, we're setting something up. We'll come back to it later.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
That's almost more what it feels like.
Yeah, 100%. And there is something about this whole scene about them strolling out at the end.
With the stopping to put the gun in
And
there.
they both like are walking in stride. They stop, put the gun away, and then they walk out together, kind of with a
It's like
little bit of a
happy.
pep
It's like
in
a
their step.
happy ending.
Yeah, and
Of a very not happy movie for the most part.
If we would have ended with Vince dying, like it would have really put a damper on the whole thing.
Yeah.
you
And
know,
of
it's
all the
such a weird
diners
thing.
they pick this one.
Yeah.
There's like the chance thing too. And like, do you guys have any thoughts on like the theology in this movie where, you know, Jules is all about like, this was a miracle. I'm going to walk the earth now, like Kane and Kung Fu. Do you guys have any thoughts about that? Like,
I thought it was honestly hilarious when he said like he basically describes it as I'm gonna walk the earth, meet people, and like go on adventures. And it's like you just literally described like a child would, Jules. Like, come on, man.
you're going to be a fucking bum.
You're a bum. A bum.
I
That's
think
just
it's
the way you see it, my friend.
I think it's very easy to look at something as this happened on purpose. There was a reason for this. Everything happens for a reason. I think that is one of the easiest outs in life, and it's the most comforting thing to be like, everything happens for a reason, dude.
Yeah.
Because whatever happened, that's the path you're on now, and you have no clue what would have happened elsewhere. If you go back, I actually just traced this back because you inspired me earlier. You said that if they go into that room with the three white guys 5 minutes early, if they don't wait to be on time, let's say they go in early, the guy is not in the bathroom anymore, so they don't get shot at, which means Jules does not feel like he had a divine intervention, which means he doesn't quit, which means he's the one that also goes with Vincent to Butch's apartment,
Yeah, yep.
which means he doesn't let his guard down, which means they kill Butch and Vincent lives and they continue on with their mission.
Right.
From one little fucking like decision that he made.
Yeah.
And but they don't know that because like Jules thinks it was a divine intervention that they survived that, but because of that, Vincent gets killed.
Yeah.
So that's not divine intervention.
I think you're 100% right, and reiterating on the point of this movie, where I think it's really just about these weird chances in life, you know, and that's probably why this movie is structured like this, because it's, you know, this thing seems out of order, and it is out of order, but so is, I guess, everyday life, and like, you know, like with whatever. I decided to take a different way to the studio today. What the fuck could have happened? Like, whatever. I could have hit a dog or some shit. Would have been the end of my life. You know, like that. The little menial chances that you don't take, and then the banality of evil as well too, where like Jules is battling this whole thing in his mind, especially after this divine intervention thing where he spares Pumpkin, right? Pumpkin is
yeah,
whatever.
Or what is he called?
Pumpkin pie.
Ringo. He calls him Ringo. He's like,
Hey, British Invasion.
Yeah, there you go.
See what I'm saying?
Oh my God, I
Throwing
hate
it out there.
Shit.
that. It keeps going.
But it's fascinating.
Great.
And I really am glad that you guys kind of took that from it as well, because I watched it for the first time for a long time, and I'm like, I don't know if this has a point to it other than it being fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But if you look deep enough, it really does.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about like it's almost like some sort of sacrifice for the greater good or something. Like somebody had to die so other people could have this like redemption or saving.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
like Butch was saved at this point. You know.
Yeah. And Vincent was damned at this point.
Jules was saved at this point. Marcellus saved at this point. Like Mia saved. You know, Vincent technically, after everything is said and done, Vincent really is the one who deserves the damning so others can be saved.
Yeah.
Wow.
You really have to consider it because a lot, like you said it earlier, a lot
He's
of the bad
sacrificial.
things are happening strictly because of Vincent. Now,
I don't want to be around anymore.
the good things, the good things happened, or this whole thing took place though because Jules put into place. Let's not go in there yet.
That's mind blowing to me that's a thing. I never considered that till today.
Yeah.
So strange,
Wow.
man.
Cool.
Well, boys, we don't want to make
Holy
this
shit.
the longest episode ever, but I think
Too bad.
I still think we hit them with some bombs. So we got to go modern day rating on this. We're gonna start with Sean on this. I know what he's gonna say, but I want to hear him say it.
Yeah,
What's your
man,
modern day
like,
rating, buddy?
It just keeps evolving over the years and every time you watch it. And I really think like I watched this movie like 4 or 5 times for this review, and I did not get old. I didn't get tired of it whatsoever. I really think that it has, like, if you don't really connect with one of the stories, you can connect with the other. Or like, this time around, I felt myself like more loving Vincent and Mia's storyline way more than anything else than I had previous watches. When I just like fast forwarded to the violent scenes and like or this scene or like the resuscitation scene. Yeah. I think the performances are phenomenal. I think it's Sam Jackson's best movie. There's no doubt in my mind why people think that this is Quentin Tarantino's best movie of all time. I won't argue that whatsoever. It's just apples and oranges for me. But yeah, I'm not gonna change it all. It's a 10. It's a perfect movie. It's fucking Pulp Fiction, dude. I don't know what else to say.
Yep. AJ, what about you, man?
This is one of those movies that I probably have no business like enjoying it as much as I do, but it's just right up there with like the Thing. Right now, I had quite the aversion to The Thing, but it's one that now I want to rewatch and will probably become a fall movie, winter movie for me for a long time. Pulp Fiction is this movie that I think I can rewatch time and time again and continue to think about, and perfect to get your mind off of other things. It's like I just need to think about this movie for a little while and rabbit hole on this movie for a little while. The casting is amazing. The characters are genuine characters. The outfits, the costuming, and the makeup. And everything, it has this hint of like fantastical element, if you will, that it's like the movie's grounded, but this just elevates it a little bit enough, to make it like levitate like David Blaine. You know what I mean? That you're just like, okay, all right. A little bit strange.
We're having fun.
I
can see that.
Okay, I kind of see what you're doing here though. But and it is. It's. I mean, like you said, man. It's Quentin Tarantino and it's Pulp Fiction. I mean, how do you argue with this? I am probably going to have to do this, guys. This is a 9.7.
9.7.
What takes it down? 3? Yeah. What takes it down? 3?
There's some you're just not willing to give it a 10, and you are much like me. Like I have a hard time saying that it is like the most perfect movie ever. this was my most favorite watch that I've had of this movie so far. Like thinking about it the way we think about it and then talking about it. And I hope that's what you guys listening take from this, is that it's so fun to just like hear conversations about good movies. And hearing you guys talk about it made this my favorite watch. But ultimately, like I always go back and look at my list, and like my number one so far that we've done is Back to the Future. And there are just a few things that keep it from beating that for me. It's a little bit of a drag down in the middle with Fabian and the cab driver, and it's some of the mistakes, kind of like the bullet holes or the changing of Honey Bunny saying the things. But like we're talking like utter minuscule stuff. I'm moving this into my 2 spot. This is a 9.4.
Ooh, fuck yeah.
9.4. So Michael Guiliano, who had never seen this, says, this movie's been a big blind spot in my collection for many years. So I was finally excited to get down to watching it. At this point, I think I've seen so many references and homages to the movie in other things. I felt like I already knew everything that was going to happen. But I found myself surprised by how much I liked it. It's one of the rare movies that holds up to all the hype. Tarantino writes masterful dialogue better than almost anyone in the industry, although I will say that the word choice that he gave his own character in the movie was interesting, to say the least. Probably could have done without that. Harvey Keitel steals the movie for all 20 minutes that he's in it, although the entire ensemble cast can be praised for putting in a great effort. Although if anyone is a Wedding Singer fan, the shooter who comes out of the bathroom to get Jules and Vincent is the same person who plays George, which took me like 3 times to recognize.
Sir. Yes,
Overall,
sir.
this is a very good movie that helped popularize a bunch of film techniques that we take for granted now, and helped launch Tarantino's career while revitalizing the careers of actors like Travolta and Willis. My modern day rating is going to be an 8.5.
Wow.
Guys, that's a 9.4 for us on the grand scale of things. You want to know where that falls in?
I do.
That falls into number 2, right behind Dazed and Confused. Dazed and Confused is still at number 1 at a 9.5. This is a 9.4. Saving Private Ryan, 9.33. Goodfellas, 9.27. Breakfast Club, 9.26.
Michael, you had an opportunity to bust this into number 1.
I don't
think it's. I don't know.
That's tough. How do you compare those 2 movies? But like, Sean doesn't care. He's happy.
No,
right?
I mean, hey.
This is
like,
now our number 2 rated movie.
Literally, it is like I can tell, I can see what you're saying about those little flaws that you have. But yeah, like to me, it is. There's nothing wrong with it. Like I go back to our RoboCop review, and it's like literally that last shot of the guy falling out of the fucking skyscraper is the only thing wrong with that movie. There's nothing
and
wrong.
And it is
here.
a problem.
Like it takes you out of it. But yeah.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for being here. Tune in next week. We discuss the movie Election, followed up by a new movie that is out of jail that we get to talk about called Rockstar.
Let's go, baby.
Boondock Saints 2.
No, it's death.
And
Twitch it to death.
If you're new to the podcast, go back this time last year, Airheads. If you need to cleanse the palate just a little bit from Pulp Fiction, Airheads is a real good one.
Yeah,
go, baby.
And you can probably finally find that streaming on some different platforms.
Fucking hopefully.
Pretty positive you can, thanks to Brendan Fraser, Academy Award winner.
Wow.
Guys, thank you so much for listening to the show. If you're listening and you haven't subscribed to this show yet, most people will just listen to a show and they aren't even subscribed. So please smash that follow button, whatever they say. But give us a follow, subscribe on the podcast platform that you're listening on. Check us out on YouTube too. Follow us there. Check out everything that we got going on in the set, in the studio. And please follow us on social media. It is at Confused Breakfast. Just search for Confused Breakfast anywhere on social media. Check it out.
Why don't you do that? Go to confusedbreakfast.com as well to see the merch that we have. You can buy some shirts to put on your body. You can buy some sweatshirts. I think you can. You get some stickers there. Get some koozies at Not Your Father's on Instagram. Just get some stuff. And stuff for anybody else. Go to confusedbreakfast.com as well to see the ratings of the movies that we have done. You can see my rating of RoboCop. You can see AJ's rating of Roadhouse. You can see Mike's
Sam's Super
rating
Mario Brothers.
of Raiders of the Last Podcast.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Raiders of the Last Podcast.
Yeah.
So just go there.
Support our sponsors. That is one of the best ways to support this show. Go check all of them out. Support us directly, patreon.com/confusedbreakfast. This show is produced by the Upload Media Group. We got Logs on the controls. Learn more at uploadmediagroup.com, and we are part of the Cloud10.fm podcast network. please check them out to learn more and see some cool shows.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
We did it.